You just gained another subscriber.
I did.
Yeah.
Hey, we take those W's. All right, we're live.
Yeah. Awesome.
Welcome back, everybody, for a part 2.
Yep. Live from the throne room.
Yes, live from the throne room. Hello, everybody. Hopefully y'all didn't miss us because we are back. Yes. All right. Shall we answer the questions we missed from the last live stream?
Yeah.
Shall we do that?
Yeah, we should. And I was careful enough to. I actually cut and pasted the whole chat into a notepad because I thought we might run into that problem.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go then.
So yeah, I've got the whole thing actually.
Hey.
Christine said that we're over here 40-55 supporting Yang. I'm getting my age group to support Yang. Lots of let go of Biden's, Bernie's, and Warren's old way of thinking. Mm-hmm. I do not speak Chinese, so federal jobs guarantee can definitely work somehow, but it's no excuse not to have a UBI. I think we both agree with that.
Yeah. I think I have the chat open. Do I? Hold on. Oh,
some of these are statements. Do you guys think here's a good one. Do you think Andrew Yang early polling scores reflect his true popularity? What is your opinion?
I would say no. I do not think it reflects his actual popularity because
I think we know why.
Yeah. Oh, well, before I say why, QOP13 says hi. Hey, QOP13, welcome back. Hopefully,
thanks for following back along.
Yeah, hopefully there's no more hiccups. But if there is, then wait around for that part 3.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, welcome back, everybody. We are back. So the question: does Yang's popularity reflect in the early polling stats? Right?
Yeah.
I don't think it does, honestly. Or at least the polls don't actually show the true picture or the full picture, because Andrew Yang, his supporters, you have to count for how many are first-time voters, politically disengaged voters, Republicans switching over to Democrat for just the primaries who aren't being accounted for in these polls. And you gotta keep in mind that the polls usually ask people to have a history with voting. So many factors and so many areas that Andrew Yang supporters are honestly unaccounted for. And I would say that his support is more than the polls show.
I think for all of those reasons, some of them probably bigger than others. I think that the Republican crossover appeal for Yang is kind of insane. And I think that we see that on a day-to-day basis. We see that on a day-to-day basis in the Discord, but it's more than that. It's the private conversations I have with friends and family that I know voted for Trump, that are now like, hey, look, this guy seems to make sense to us. No one else, including Bernie, makes any sense. And these are people that previously would have supported Bernie, maybe back before, maybe in 2016, they probably would have supported. They would have been open to supporting Bernie in the general, but then Hillary comes along, and obviously it's no bueno at that point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so many Bernie bros, I guess, if that's what they officially call themselves. I'm actually not sure, but many actually didn't like that Bernie talked a lot about Hillary being bad, and then went ahead and endorsed Hillary, and then I think a lot ended up, just voting Trump to spite Hillary, I guess.
She really did a number on the Democratic Party, and I mean, even amongst my quote unquote what I would call a bulkhead liberal friends, people who have been that are my age that have been voting Democratic for the better part of 30 years or 20 years.
Right.
even amongst them, we all talk about the damage that she did to the party 2016, and even simply speaking at all, like even her recent comments about Tulsi, we know good and well where that's going to get us if we continue letting
Right.
her represent us. It's like, you want to talk about anyone who actually deserves to be canceled, it's her.
Right. I see.
You know? At least that's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but
No,
that's what
I
I hear. That's literally what I hear from everybody. Like, I don't think there's a single person that has come out to me in the last year and said, "Oh, that Hillary Clinton, sure glad she ran for president in 2016. Sure wish she was president now." Ain't nobody saying that right now.
no, yeah,
They may like her better than Trump, and that's okay. But they're not saying that she ran a good campaign or anything.
yeah, yeah. I actually saw an article. Well, I only skimmed it, but apparently, like an ex-director or someone that worked with Hillary said that Hillary literally thinks she was put on this planet to become president.
Yeah, well,
Or
are you,
apparently,
absolutely. Are you aware of the Rolling Stone article that came out in, I think, 2017 about Michigan?
I actually did not haven't heard of that.
It's actually a pretty good story. And I'll make it really super short because this, like, we could talk for hours, obviously, and we don't want to do that.
Right.
But her campaign office in Michigan had told the headquarters in New York in 2015, 2016, our polling numbers here locally are saying that things are very bad right here. We need you to come out and start doing some rallies and get some
Mhm.
support. And her response, and the headquarters response, was, "You're stupid. We don't need to do that. We'll go spend our time where it really counts."
Really?
Yep. And she summarily lost every single state that she said that about. Was all the swing states that Yang continually talks about Trump winning. And he
Hmm.
doesn't talk about those states just because Trump won them. He talks about those states because I guarantee you, in the Yang might not bring it up in public discussions, but I can tell you right now that that is definitely part of the the calculus, is that Hillary lost those states because she didn't bother showing up.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah. And there's a huge amount of there was other stuff that was going on in Michigan, like basically 50,000 previous Obama voters didn't show up. And you know why they didn't show up? Because
How come?
Hillary didn't offer. Yeah. How, what message was Hillary offering that sounded appealing to them, that made them feel like their issues were getting raised? Nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Especially automation related things.
Yeah.
Like if Hillary just did more research, you know, she could have really gotten a lot more to vote for her and show up in the swing states.
If
I
she had
believe.
just not acted as arrogant as she did,
Yeah,
she may have actually been president right now. We don't know, but
she very well could have been. Yeah.
she's not that person, and that's why she's not president right now, because she is actually probably everything that person said.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
And not
it's
to mention.
unfortunate for us as Democrats.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that Hillary literally alienated so many Trump supporters that could have maybe opened their mind towards her by calling all of them deplorables.
They were ours to lose, man. They voted for Obama. Huge amounts of them voted for Obama, and like, Obama didn't take their votes for granted. He may not have, like, there is plenty of debate to be had amongst people who are in the middle of the road and on the right as to whether Obama policies hurt them or helped them.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you this much: we had a modicum of trust with those voters in the Obama administration.
Right.
Like the hardcore conservatives, no, but the the people that were in the middle, they generally trusted Obama. They didn't trust Hillary. And when they found out that there was a choice between her or some crazy guy that wasn't a politician, you know who they chose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So when I
You
talk
know,
about like early state stuff,
yeah. Well, actually, I want to say props to Trump for being able to convince, um, be able to make tens of millions of Americans feel more closely connected to a billionaire than Hillary.
it's
You know,
kind of an amazing trick.
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I'm not a billionaire.
Yeah,
Like no one doing YouTube is like I don't know if there are any YouTube billionaires except maybe Elon Musk. He's
Yeah,
the only person who's ever been on. I mean, as far as I know, he's ever anyone who's ever spent a large amount of time. Well, I take that back. Buffett and Jay-Z did
really.
a long form piece one time.
Hmm,
Those are the only other billionaires I know that show up on YouTube.
I see.
And Bill
Well,
Gates. Bill Gates too.
we have some comments here. KeoB13 says lots of Bernie supporters went to the Green Party. Jill Stein. That's
Yeah.
actually true. Jill
Yep.
Stein, yeah, she got some good support. Yeah, definitely from Bernie supporters. Because they, after Bernie, I think publicly smeared Hillary a couple times before officially endorsing her, and then going and endorsing her, that just rubbed a lot of Bernie supporters the wrong way, and they acted accordingly.
Yeah.
And
I agree.
yeah, Hot Mess from the Discord says, Lewis, what happens? Uh, internet issues,
Yeah.
Internet isn't flawless, but we are back, and hopefully we don't go back down again. If we do, then expect a part 3 real
Yeah.
soon.
Expect
Yeah.
part 3. Yep. Ying says it best. Trump said "Make America Great Again." Hillary said America was already great. Yeah, we know how that turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Hillary's term didn't quite work, or else 60 whatever million Americans wouldn't have voted for Trump, but they did.
Yep.
Because at the very least they knew, Trump, he didn't have the right solutions obviously, but he identified some of the problems, such as there were issues in this country, but
he uncovered, most importantly, the sentiment, right?
yeah.
Like it's not even that he uncovered the problems, is that he knew good and well that when Obama, but when Hillary went around saying everything's great, and the only people who think otherwise are deplorable,
Mm-hmm.
you know good and well that was wrong, and he leveraged that to maximum effect. As well, anyone who's fighting against someone in that position with that kind of rhetoric, they should do that. They should absolutely take advantage if they intend to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a comment by KeoP13 here. He says, Haitian living in America complain that Hillary supporters try to cover the fact that Clinton lowered the Haiti minimum wage and they were not allowed to grow rice and were only allowed to buy from her brother. That sounds like a big conspiracy that I might have to look more into.
Yeah, we have to look into that. I'd never heard about that. That's pretty interesting. Thanks for bringing that up, man.
Thank you. Colin Smith says, we're waking up the disenfranchised. That's 100% true. Yang is... I mean, if Yang didn't exist, I probably would have just barely registered to vote for a general election. Like, sometime late.
You were 16, right? You were 16 in 2016?
Yeah. For like half of 2016, I was.
So 16. You didn't vote. You weren't able to vote back then.
No.
So where were you? Where did you find yourself politically in 2016? If you felt political at all, I don't.
No, yeah. When I was 15, 16, I was a Trump supporter.
Really?
That's
okay, man. That's okay, man. Like, what was Trump saying versus Hillary that appealed to you? Did you like Bernie before her? Like, that was a good question.
I liked both Bernie and Trump, and if Bernie was ended up gonna, or if he was a nominee and I was able to vote, I would have honestly voted Bernie. But
that's fair.
I supported both of them, Bernie and Trump, and I guess it really, just I was so involved in politics, and I could tell that Bernie endorsing Hillary, it felt kind of weak from him. But I didn't understand at the time that ultimately it was about uniting the Democratic Party no matter who was a nominee.
Well, yeah, it was an existential threat against. Trump was an existential threat to, frankly, the country. To those of us on the left, we understood that pretty well.
Unfortunately, the nominee wasn't the best choice, but definitely looking back
worst
now,
choice.
Yeah, definitely looking back now, I would have had her. I would have, if I knew how many promises Trump would break and some specific promises he made to Hispanic families, which that he never really followed through with. That was a big reason why I was pulling from him, because I thought he would make he would actually help like people like me out, my families, my relatives, but nothing really came from that. And yeah,
Yeah.
I was plus the whole outsider image. I was really into that. The idea of an outsider shaking up the establishment, beating the odds,
Yeah.
draining the swamp, as he said before he became the swamp himself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that because it kind of it kind of sheds light on what I consider like one of the problems that we've had in politics and we're still currently having, although like thank goodness Yang came along.
yeah,
But one of the big problems is it when the politics gets so stale and so bad that people like Trump look like viable solutions that are
exactly.
appealing to people such as yourself.
Yeah,
Like, like here's what I've got a good question for you as a Hispanic person. Like,
right.
where in your family, being having that background,
Mhm.
like what did you think about Trump's rhetoric, like towards the Latino community and like Hispanic?
Well, I saw it from a different angle. Like phrasing was very important when he said they're taking our jobs, they're committing crimes,
Yeah,
they're rapists.
yeah.
So I took it as not
They're not
talking
committing
about.
crimes, right?
Well, not no.
Okay.
I took it as Trump wasn't talking about legal immigrants. I took it as Trump was talking about illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I get that.
Specifically, I guess the bad ones. And then
Yeah,
Trump even said, he like as for the good illegal immigrants, um, there would be a pathway to citizenship. He promised that. He promised easier ways to become citizens. He promised a lot of things to the Hispanic community. And actually, I don't have on hand on me how many of the Hispanics turned out for Trump versus Hillary. But yeah, I feel I can probably say that a lot of them probably share the same sentiment that their promises weren't really delivered.
yeah. I have Hispanic members in my family, and like their sentiment is very similar to yours. I live in Texas, and like
Right.
there is like there is a significant amount of Hispanic people here in Texas who frankly happily voted for Trump. They happily thought that, hey, look, when Trump is talking about all of this stuff, he's not talking about us. He's talking about someone else. He's talking
Yeah.
about people that like you good and well know that there is the established Hispanic quote unquote community, whether it's very connected or not in
Right.
America, who feels that like, hey, look, we're established here. We're not doing anything wrong. We're citizens. Like we're just as upset as everybody else about people coming over the border illegally, right? Like
Yeah.
I understand that. I understand that concern.
Hmm.
And like I think Trump probably tapped into something in that specific community that people weren't expecting. Definitely people like myself on the left. I can tell you right now, I didn't know people like yourself would be voting for Trump. I had never in my
Yeah.
wildest dreams that I think that that was going to be a thing. And that's just ignorance on my part. And I'm happy to say that I was ignorant about it. Like I didn't
Right.
understand. I understand now.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of reasons. Of course, there was some policy that I didn't agree with, but yeah. And also, I was 15, 16 years old after. Also,
Still old enough to know what's going on.
yeah, that's all. That's true. I won't use my age as a scapegoat, but I
Yeah.
also got really sucked into like the whole meme part um of the 2016 election. Like I was a frequent user of the Donald's, and it was such an echo chamber in there. Like there was just so much confidence, although at the same time, and it felt like being a part of a cult. And looking back at it today, with how many Trump supporters still defend him no matter what, it turns out it really was a cult. If you think
Yeah.
about it.
I kind of I definitely agree with you, man. Like and I think that frankly, like man, I can't say this enough. I have to take personal responsibility to a certain level as someone who's been on the left and has supported the Democratic Party both financially and with my time and efforts. Like I've canvassed campaigns before.
Hmm.
Like I should have known better. I should have been listening better. I
Yeah.
wasn't listening. That's
Right.
shame on me for not listening better, man.
It's
Like
all good.
that's like I'm actually pretty hard on myself for like I'm usually pretty good at calling what public sentiment is, but I just missed it this time, and I was like, this is ridiculous that I would have missed it that much.
Well, yeah, I mean, Trump might have been a once in a lifetime candidate in a really twisted way,
Yeah, yeah.
in a very interesting way. Like, I don't know if anyone will ever use fear and hatred to their um for their personal gain in such a way ever again in U.S. politics. Like Trump,
I think this may have been a one and done kind of scenario.
yeah,
In that particular, like there are definitely in the future going to be other scenarios that are going to shock the public, but this may be like the specific dynamics at play may not happen again.
yeah. I don't think the media will ever. Apparently, it was reportedly the media talked about Trump so much that they gave him $2 billion worth of free advertising
Yeah.
throughout the 2016 election cycle.
Well,
And
they were morons. The media didn't do anyone any favors,
no,
either Trump voters and people like myself. Like they're still profiting off of this entire election, and
no,
frankly, it's infuriating to me to
it
watch.
is. I can't wait until Trump is like not worth reporting it over anymore.
I can't wait till he's removed, whether by election or it's possible he may actually get impeached and actually removed from office. I don't think there's a high percentage chance, but there is a possibility enough pressure could be enacted upon the Senate to actually get him out of there.
Um,
If McConnell starts freaking out, it may happen.
it might happen, but I wouldn't count on it too
I wouldn't
hard.
count on it too
Yeah,
hard, man. Not at all.
let's just keep pushing for Yang to
Yeah,
let's not step off the brakes
yeah,
anytime soon just because there's
yeah,
an inquiry going on. There's still so much like testifying and actually
yeah,
getting through like the heads of the cult.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just a whole beast on
We're
its own.
we're getting some good questions here in chat now.
We
This is
are.
good.
So
We
let's
should answer
let's
some of them.
actually yeah. So um Mike Below
Yeah,
or Ballo, if I'm saying that correctly, he
yeah.
says, "How well does Yang have to do in Iowa to compete?"
Um, so I think I talk about this a lot in chat, and I keep hammering this point home. In 1992, which was the first political campaign I was ever considered myself a part of, because I saw Bill Clinton in person at a rally. That's how
Really
old I am. Yeah.
crazy.
1992. So right before the Iowa caucus, um, Bill Clinton was not a quote unquote unlike Kamala Harris, he wasn't a top tier candidate.
Hmm. Right,
And
quote unquote.
he got about 2.5% in the caucus, which frankly, like in today's world, the media would say your campaign is done, right?
Right.
He then came back in New Hampshire and got 30%, something close to that,
Damn.
and immediately blew it out. So how well does Yang have to do in Iowa? He's got to do better than 2.5% in
Yeah.
today's climate. And but does he? I think that a top three and then a first place showing in New Hampshire would probably should probably start the domino effect.
I
Um,
agree. I agree.
yeah, and I think that I think that he's probably extremely strong in New Hampshire, but I do not think that we should rule out doing extremely well in Iowa.
Exactly.
If he does top three in Iowa, or especially top two, the entire establishment of the media is going to be so shook.
It's
They're
gonna
going
be
to be
such
like,
a
"Oh no,
flip.
it's Trump again, it's Trump," and not in a negative way. Just it's a dark horse. It's a dark horse. Everybody
Yeah.
run for cover. Like
And then
all
people are
of our
gonna
models were
crazy.
wrong,
People are gonna go
and then it'll
crazy.
be out of control.
Yeah, they're gonna look up Andrew Yang. They're like, this guy just plays top three in Iowa. Oh, he wants
Yeah,
to give us free money. I'll go vote for him. Like, there's just gonna
yeah,
be frenzies.
yeah,
But
yeah,
to backpedal a little bit, Andrew Yang actually talks a bit about early strategies back in a fundraiser he did, which I wish I had the video on me, but I recall him saying that with how so many with how so many people in or candidates in Iowa or no candidates that are trying to win Iowa, like they're focusing so much on Iowa that it's going to be tough to place top three. So Andrew Yang says they're not obviously just going to give up Iowa, but they're gonna be at a different. They're gonna set the bar differently between
Here,
Iowa and the other
here,
three.
I've got something for you. Here, we'll do this.
Oh,
Oh, sorry about that.
it's all good.
Can you
Um,
let me stop the share, and then I'll share just this window, not my screen, but that. Does that show anything?
yeah, I see something.
Yeah, you see. So you see the Rolling Stone article here,
Yeah, I see the
inside the
Rolling Stone.
making of Andrew Yang 2.0.
Yeah.
He's on a hiring spree, building a legit campaign. How far can it go? This is let's see. I haven't actually read this article, but it's
Looks like a good article.
he's yeah. I like their political commentary. It's actually pretty good. They're usually pretty spot on. They definitely nailed like I said, the Hillary thing. I mean, after
Oh,
the
for
fact,
sure.
but they were the only person saying it. Now everyone basically
Yeah.
accepts that that's the reality. Do what do I think he's actually doing? And like, we're not campaign insiders, and we wouldn't be sharing this information if we were.
Right.
But I can surmise from the scenarios of previous elections that his campaign is on a slow but steady simmer and is
Yeah.
going like this. It's doing this.
Yeah.
It's not doing this
I
because
believe
we got that one spike in September,
we
and that's
did.
great. But I frankly, if I were him and his campaign staff, I would keep it. I try to turn down the heat. I'd keep down the heat. We don't want to peak too soon. We don't want to burn people out. We don't
That's
want to
true.
exhaust people. We don't want people saying, "Oh, Andrew Yang, gosh, you're the 50th person today that's talked about him. I'm so done with him." Right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's let all the other campaigns do all their other infighting and
Yeah.
all the other bickering that they want to do. Just let them have
Yeah.
at it.
And I would rather Andrew Yang have a steady increase than have a random growth spurt
Yeah.
and suddenly, like, I want Andrew Yang to peak. That by the time he peaks, it'll be too late to try to take him down.
Yep.
So with that being said, um, I don't think it'll be the end of the world if Andrew Yang doesn't place top three in Iowa, because yeah, I'm saying that because Andrew Yang himself said that so many campaigns are focusing on Iowa, and internally they're all saying, if we don't win Iowa, we lose. If we don't win Iowa, our campaign is over. So
Yeah,
and
he's not in that he's not in that boat. He's made it very clear. It's very likely that there are states right now that will absolutely he'll actually there are big states that are potentially going to go Yang, and I'm talking about California.
yeah,
We're talking about like I'm just going to say this right now. I think he can win Texas.
really,
Yes, I think he can win Texas.
in
If
Texas,
you talk to the people that I talk to, man, like the only people that are going to vote there's people on the left that will vote Bernie here, and that may be a really hard hill to climb.
right?
But by the time Texas gets around, Beto is going to be out of the campaign. All of these other
Yeah,
top
Beta
tier
will be out.
candidates are going to be out of the
He's gonna be out.
campaign. Pete's not going to fly in Texas. There's no one I know that thinks Pete's great. Warren's not going to fly in Texas. She's looked at like an elitist academic. She's the opposite of Hillary. Hillary is a corporatist elitist. Warren is an academic elitist, unfortunately. And I've followed her campaign or I've followed her political career since 2000. Literally, that's how long. And she's always
Right.
been pretty good, but she's really kind of showed her true colors in this campaign. She's really showed us who she actually is, and that's someone
Exactly.
who kind of thinks that she's like doesn't need any ideas from anyone else.
Yeah, and
And
shout out
I'm
to
like,
Elizabeth Warren for like taking a pledge to not accept any big money right after she transferred $10 million from her Senate run to jumpstart her campaign.
you should have just said that you were going to start. You should have just said you were taking the money. No one would have faulted you for that, right? Like, people take money. That's just how campaigns are run. But when you are deceptive about it, man, people got problems with that. Like the
Exactly.
duplicity is obvious to people.
So But back to the early stage planning, I don't think it'll be the end of the world, unlike other campaigns, if Yang doesn't like secure Iowa, because I
Yeah,
think he has just as much of a chance. No, he has a better chance in states like New Hampshire. Uh, it's
Nevada.
escaping me. Nevada and even South Carolina.
I think that he is. I think that so. That's one of the things I actually wanted to definitely bring up is I am actually very interested in trying to get the Black American community to get Yang noticed. Like I
Right.
think that is an untapped wealth of people who are absolutely, that is a group that has been absolutely taken advantage of by the
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Party for far too long.
Yep.
Far too long, man. Um,
It's crazy.
like I grew up and went to school in Black American communities. I didn't live there, but I went to school there. Like, um, and I don't want to say some of my best friends are black. Um, uh, I like those ties are actually for me is actually quite personal and close. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
I understand what it's like to be pulled over by police with black people in the car. Like it's not,
Yeah.
it's not, it's like I've gotten a taste of what some of those folks go through, and it's a personal issue to me. And when I see my party treating that community, and I say that community, I want to be really specific about this. I know Yang is all about getting rid of identity politics, and I 100% agree with it.
Yeah.
But then there are large groups and blocks of voters who want to be referred to as communities, and they want
Mm-hmm.
to be addressed as community. And I think there's no harm in respecting that wish.
Yeah.
Like, like we need to address what can you do for our community. Well, we should answer those questions. They deserve
Exactly.
those answers, man.
Exactly.
So one of the problems I have with traditional Democratic campaigns is they all promise the world. When they talk to the black community, they say, "Well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to increase funding for all of these things." And I'm like, frankly, you're not going to do any of that.
Exactly.
Campaign after campaign after campaign, they said, "We're going to form committees or we're going to sponsor a bill." Enough talk, man. Enough talk.
Yep.
Like UBI is where the talk stops and
Exactly.
the doing starts.
Exactly.
Get people money, dude. Like you want to make people feel like they're part of America, give them some money.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a piece of the pie to start with.
Yeah.
You don't have to make everyone a millionaire, but like you can start somewhere. And that's a really good start.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A
Don't get me
universal.
started on that topic. We'll be here for 3 hours, man.
No, I get that 100%.
Yeah.
Even though Andrew Yang is not going with identity politics, he's strongly against it. He still
Yeah.
does talk about reparations and
I'm against it, just so you know.
identity politics.
Yeah. I think
Right. Yeah.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not the way to win elections.
Yeah.
It's just a way to divide people.
Yang himself says, you should really be focusing
Yeah.
more on policy and solutions.
Obama says it, so I think it's pretty
Yeah.
valid
Yeah.
position to take.
Definitely. But yeah, Yang says that UBI is a foundation, and afterwards we can talk about reparations and stuff like that. So although Yang is against identity politics, he does still listen to the black voters by, wanting a form of reparations.
I think there needs to be more outreach, and if you're on Twitter like I am, which I'm sure you are, you
Mm-hmm.
may see the comments from the Black Yang community, the Black Yang gang.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need to do a lot more outreach because places like South Carolina are absolutely 100% winnable by Yang.
Yeah.
We
I,
just need to get the message out. We're not getting the message out. We're not addressing these people as the community they want to be addressed to. And
exactly.
obviously, all black people in America are not saying that they want to be addressed as that
Mm-hmm.
community. But there is a block that does, and it's pretty big.
It
It's big enough to elect candidates.
It is.
We need to respect that.
It
You
is.
respect you choose to ignore that at your own peril.
Mm-hmm. So Andrew Yang said that, if I recall correctly, that South Carolina, historically, they're not 100% sure of, they're not firm with a candidate. So
No,
I think he looked. I think he pointed
they're
back.
pretty winnable.
Yeah, I think he looked back at a certain candidate. I think it was John Kerry. So many polls showed that he was out of it already, but then he won this state and South Carolina immediately. Were like, ooh, let's go
Yeah.
with that guy.
Yep.
So if Andrew Yang can, do incredible in New Hampshire, if he can do incredible in Nevada, well, actually, I don't know if it goes South Carolina and then Nevada, or Nevada and then South Carolina. But South Carolina and Nevada are just as easily, if not more, up for grabs than Iowa.
Oh man, we got a lot. We got a lot. We got like 22 people watching now. This was great.
Thank you everyone for watching. We
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks everyone for talking about this.
Yeah, so we have some comments here. What are the best strategies for Yang in the crowded Iowa media market?
I mean, that's a good question, and I'm not from Iowa. I'm not a Midwest rural person, and I'm not from Des Moines. I'm not from
Yeah,
Davenport, any of those places. I've been to all those places. I can tell you, like, I've had family that have lived in Iowa before, and I've spent time out there, so I kind of know a little bit of what life is like out there for people. It can be, I can say this much: the winters are extremely brutal,
yeah,
very, very brutal. It can be a bit of an isolating and desolate place in the winter. Um,
yeah,
what's going to appeal for Yang versus the other candidates? Well, I can tell you that his biggest threat there is that we got to think about who's gonna vote there. Well, this time around, we actually got one good secret weapon for us. That's that's the Trump that's the Trump voters that are going to come along with us, and I
no,
think that they're going to show up to caucuses, and traditional Democrats that have been at these caucuses for 40, 50
yo,
years are probably going to be like, what are you doing here? And they're
yeah.
going to go, we're telling you what we're going to do here. We're about to vote for Yang.
All we need, especially in this crowded Democratic election cycle, in 2020, all we need is 40,000 Iowans.
Yeah.
Because I believe like 160 or 170,000 actually voted in the primaries in 2016. Like, I mean, the Iowa caucus, not the primary.
Yeah.
So if we can just get 40,000 Iowans, then we place in the money. We place in the top three, and depending on how much the votes are split, like how many candidates. Like going into Iowa, I think we're still going to see Tom Steyer. I think we're still going to see Tulsi, Beto, Corey. I think
I
they're
think to be fair, I think we all know that Tulsi in places like Iowa is actually probably going to punch up overweight.
actually she will. Now that I think about it, I think she could, but even potentially place
She
top
may be
five.
she may be a top four. She may be a top tier candidate.
Yeah, she may end up being
She
one.
may be an actual top tier candidate there.
Yeah, Iowa is just crazy with how many campaigns are just so laser focused on it. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I think Yang's best shot is like the Medicare for All ad. Just start shooting TV ads out there, and like really relatable ads. Like for example, that Medicare for All, the whole family thing, the family aspect and orientation of that ad is really gonna
Um,
help Yang hopefully.
I frankly love that ad, and I'll tell you one of the reasons I love that ad, and I haven't really expressed this to a lot of people. He in a lot of ways got out of the way and let Evelyn talk.
Yep,
Did you notice that? How she kind of almost drove that situation. He
she did.
he kind of gave it a little bit of context, and he got out of the way and let her speak. And man, she's got a powerful voice. Like
Hmm.
she's like truly got a presence, and I think she is going to be like, that is a massive, massive. She is probably better than Michelle Obama in terms of the way that she spoke. I'm like, man, I think when
Yeah.
people really start to see Evelyn, I think they're gonna
Yes.
lose it, man.
And not to mention, I believe Evelyn's debut, like on the campaign trail, is going to be at Yangapalooza. Someone in the
So
chat
good.
can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Yangapalooza is going to be the big debut.
Yep.
Like, between us hitting the 1.5 million goal, between Yangapalooza, between the early state TV ads beginning to roll out, I think we're finally, like, the Yang campaign is actually starting to put the wheels in motion towards getting the early
We're
states.
at, we're at that 9.5 to 10.5 mile mark in the marathon.
Yeah.
It's like where we're starting to hit our stride. Everyone else has been kind of sprinting. they've been sprinting and then like pacing, right? Sprinting, pacing. Like if
Mm-hmm.
you know anything about endurance sports, I've done a little bit of that stuff.
Ah.
There's sprint pace, sprint pace. Yang's just been like he got that one sprint at the start to let everyone know what he's capable of, and now
Mm-hmm.
he's just hit his stride, and slowly you see people start to peel off. Like,
Yeah. Everyone else, like us and Warren, are the only campaigns that have grown quarter on quarter to quarter basis. I'm pretty sure.
yep, yep, and like I think Warren speaks a little bit to the Iowa crowd better than she speaks to some of the other places. But do I think that we've got a massive potential appeal? I think that we're going to have a lot of Republicans show up to those caucuses.
Yes.
I think that we're
And
going to have.
with how I don't mean to interject, but with how caucuses
Go
work,
ahead.
and it from the couple of videos I saw explaining it, I think the Yang Gang have an advantage with how passionate they are, and hopefully,
Passion wins the day when you're face to face, man.
yeah,
Like when it's just you in a little voting booth voting for a primary candidate, like most states. That's like there's no shame. Like you can. That's why people pull the lever on Trump because they're in a little voting booth. But
yeah,
when you're talking about a caucus and in a state like that, that's why that's one of the reasons why Iowa's been able to maintain its first in the nation status is because they have that process.
exactly.
And when you've got people as passionate as we are saying, "Hey,
Hmm.
look, there is a better way. You do not have to settle for bland food anymore. You
Yeah,
can we can eat the best of the best now."
exactly. Like week. Okay, let's fast forward to like the week or days before the Iowa caucus. If Yang is like just barely double digits, then we might as well just take Iowa as a whole because you know if the polls, which under not to be too optimistic, but if the polls that underrepresent us a lot show us in double digits, then I think we might as well just end up taking the whole thing.
It's probably it's very possible we could take the whole thing, and I don't want to get everyone's hopes up and say that it's
Yeah,
absolutely happen, and
don't
then when it
want
doesn't happen,
false hope or
yeah,
anything.
yeah, false
That's
hope.
that's only
But
if the polling, like I said, that kind of misrepresents us a lot, starts representing us a bit closer to what we actually are, then I feel like it's over.
I think if we're polling above, I'll be honest with you, I think if we're polling above 7% in Iowa, right, and we're what still 6 weeks out, a little bit closer, maybe about that.
Until the
No,
caucus,
we're way more than that.
we're like 100. No, I actually have this thing on my
Yeah, you got a
phone.
little counter, right?
Yeah, we are 95 days out.
I mean, that's really, really far out.
That's
Like, it sickens me that the media wants to try and call this like so early. I'm
exactly.
so I don't know if you've seen my link before, but I actually put this in Discord a couple of times. I did some preliminary like statistical looks at just like, hey, what are people looking up on Google in Iowa because all of that analytics data is available to the public.
Hmm.
And what I noticed about Iowa is while Yang, and this was back in September,
Really?
while Iowa wasn't like we weren't blown out of the water in Iowa. What I did notice was this: the the searches for the top tier candidates, and that's literally top tier candidates:
Hmm.
Biden, Bernie, Warren, and at that point Buttigieg. Although I think he's kind of I don't know where he's going right now.
Right.
Um, but the searches were very evenly distributed, which means people have not made up their minds. They
Not
have
at all.
not. They're very persuadable at this point. The only people who have made up their minds is guess it. Guess who has made up their
Yang supporters.
mind? Us.
A
We know where we're going.
yeah.
Yeah. But everyone else, like, no one voting for people like Kamala Harris thinks that they're 100,000%
No.
behind Kamala
No.
Harris. Bernie supporters are probably number two, but they are not like us. They're Bernie supporters are because it sounds great that someone is not going to be a traditional Democrat, but they don't quite know what we're about yet.
Hmm.
And that's where I think I just think that when we start talking about UBI and a more pragmatic approach to getting legislation passed, I think that we start to win.
Exactly.
I think we
And
start to win with anyone who's even remotely paying attention.
yep. Yeah, we have to keep in mind how many people in these early states haven't even tuned into one debate yet, and have only heard about the post debate performances from the media, who completely blackball Yang in post debate discussions.
Yeah, they're yeah, the media has definitely played games, and I was never I've never been a conspiracy theorist. Like I'm a person who will straight up tell you most conspiracies are not true because of the amount of collusion that's required for people and the amount of secrecy that's required for people to actually pull it off. Most
Hmm.
conspiracies are not just like like pragmatically feasible. But
Yeah.
what has definitely happened is I'm sorry, but when time after time after time we see infographics on television leaving Yang out and then putting in Booker and Beto, and you've seen
Hmm.
it happen. I know you've
Yep.
seen it.
Yep.
I was like, dude, I know what you're doing. Like it's really really obvious that you don't want this dude in here because he's not going to play the campaign that you wanted. You didn't They didn't want this narrative. They did not want this narrative of, hey, look, automation and UBI are the important things. It's not really about Trump. They wanted a Trump social justice warrior narrative for 2020, and they're not getting it, and they're mad. They're really, really mad.
Yep. It's Yeah, I guess, especially looking at Tulsi Gabbard, if you don't agree with the Democratic Party, they're gonna do their best to just push you aside. And even Bernie still to a little bit, even though he's kind of clawed his way out of being ignored by the establishment and the media.
Yeah, I, I,
I feel
I
like that's what's
truly,
happening to Yang right now.
I truly think Bernie will probably be our end competitor in all of this.
Really.
Yeah. For a long time, I thought it was going to be Warren, but I don't think that she survives the first probably third of the primary season.
Hmm. Well,
Yeah,
doesn't Warren have the most money in reserve,
that
like
doesn't matter
in the bank?
anymore. This is the thing. Like people think that money matters. Money matters to an extent, but I can tell you what happened in 2016. Hillary outspent freaking Trump. Like she had way more money than Trump did in her campaign.
Hmm.
It didn't matter. You know what mattered? People willing to retweet. People mattering. It mattered when people got in those private Facebook groups. You know which Facebook groups I'm talking about.
Right.
Got in private Facebook groups where it's like them and 25 of their closest family members, and then maybe their friends and 25 of their closest family members, and it's like a quote unquote closed group. It's real small or like a local town that everyone hangs out in the same group in.
Hmm.
It'll be like Townsville Facebook group, and there's like maybe 100, there's maybe 1,000 people in that group, and they all know each other. That's how Trump really really won. Create a super small echo chamber and just hammer the same point over and over again. Like
Right.
no amount of money made any difference when it came to that. Because Trump wasn't paying for those ads. He would only have to pay for one ad. He would have to pay for one ad and just get one meme into that group, and then it would just spread. Right?
I see.
Yeah.
Plus, yeah, like you said, with Trump having the sentiment, like nailing that down, and people felt like, if the media were attacking Trump, they were being attacked themselves. So Trump
Yeah.
did a really good job on that aspect for sure.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, Bernie could also collapse in the early primary,
He could.
in the early
I,
voting stages.
I don't know that he's going to. I think that there is very large support for him, and his supporters may feel like this is their time, and he may win because of that. Like I'm not sugarcoating any of this. Like
Hmm.
there's a possibility Yang doesn't win this,
There is,
but if
there
it's
is.
but if it's not Yang, it's probably going to be Bernie. But I think that we have a genuine chance here. We have a real fighting chance, which is better than a lot of the rest of the campaigns they don't.
Right.
Um, I think that we're going to pick up down the road we're going to pick up some big endorsements. I think Tulsi
I
will
I
endorse
think
us.
I think as soon as Yangapalooza. Oh, you're talking about other candidates supporting
Yeah. I
endorsing
think
us.
that I think that there's a possibility Castro will fold into us.
Julian Castro, yeah. I mean, he's basically Yang Gang. First, he at the debates, he's all for
Yeah, man, he's
a
for
UBI
UBI.
pilot program, and then just the other day, he tweeted about He actually referred to Yang's own term of democracy dollars, like he endorsed democracy
Yeah.
dollars. I think, it would be so strange if Julian Castro doesn't endorse this at this point, because
Yeah.
it seems like he's starting to like fight for and advocate for ideas that Yang has been having since the start of his campaign.
Yeah. We should probably take some more questions because it looks like there's quite
We
a bit of
should, we
discussion
should.
going on.
Um, so we have here. MTSLR says, I saw Bernie's polling number, no space to grow, and stays 15% around forever. Do you think Bernie can gain more supporters?
I think that he can. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat that either. Like, do I think he can gain supporters? Yeah, he can probably slurp the sleepy Biden people,
Sleepy Biden.
sleepy Bideners, the sleepy abides. We could call him that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if hypothetically, if Warren just dropped out of the race randomly, I think that's a way that Bernie would rise because a lot of
There's a fair amount of her base,
yeah
and
because
he's also gonna pull when Kamala does dip out, and like I think I posted that link earlier that Kamala's campaign is hemorrhaging money now.
they're
She's not
actually
willing.
laying off staff now.
Yeah, that's a bad sign. That means
Really
that
bad sign.
her withdrawal is may even happen before she's got stuff to do in Congress, right? I don't know if she's running for re-election this year.
She's got to pull it together and make a decision before she just ends up with
Yeah.
nothing by the time the primaries roll around.
But as far as can Bernie slurp her supporters? Yeah, probably, because you know the profile of an average K Hive supporter is someone who's interested in a lot of things that Bernie and mainly his endorsers are saying, like AOC and Ilhan.
Right.
All those people we love to not talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to say that those people are involved in the Democratic campaign because they've got such divisive. They've just been highly divisive. It's not good for politics to me. But
That's true. I definitely agree with that.
yeah.
So we have another comment here from what do we got here? DVIJ says, if other candidates support Yang, that would be great because their supporters might endorse Yang too. That's why it's good that Yang isn't too aggressive. I would agree.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
The only one Yang has been aggressive towards is Trump, but that's valid, of course. Even during the debates when completely destroying Warren, he still said something like Warren is 100% right about this and that. And then that's where he really dug into her. So Yang is very polite, and I'm surprised he has stayed polite for this long towards other candidates. I really thought he would take a different direction.
He's definitely led with policy first, which is that's actually secretly humanity first. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's very smart. He's let everyone else take shots at each other, and the only times he's ever really take a swung at anyone, and it was a clear knockout, was Warren, when she was like, automation's not causing problems, and I'm like, you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably not the answer you should have given.
Mm-hmm.
But
so we have a comment here from MTSLR. I think Bernie, Warren, Pete, and Yang, those four will be marching to the convention.
Yeah,
of the DNC.
I think that is a fair prediction.
I think Joe Biden is the front runner that never was, and
frankly, I didn't have any particular hatred of Joe Biden, and I don't hate the guy. I think that Joe Biden got involved because he thought that it was an easy dunk to win this nomination.
Right.
because he saw these unknowns and all these people who are frankly just like not super presidentially, like people weren't thinking about them in presidential terms. And he walked into frankly a hellstorm of debate that I don't think he was ready for.
Yeah.
And it's shown in his debate performances. He's like everyone I know that thought that he was probably a decent choice is not thinking that now, because
Hmm.
he's not good. He's not good at these kind of debates. He's not used to taking incoming fire like he did.
Exactly.
Do you think it will make a difference if Yang also emphasizes UBI addressing income inequality and not just automation?
I think it very well could.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think
I hate
maybe,
to say yeah on all these comments, but it's I think people just basically know the score.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's something that Yang might incorporate into his stump speech that he always does in the future. Or maybe he's waiting for the right time to talk about how UBI would help income inequality and would help black families. Maybe he's just
Uh,
waiting.
yeah, I mean like that is kind of like the elephant in the room is how does this affect certain communities that are wanting to be addressed, and that's like one of those issues, right? Like for Black
Yeah.
America, it seems like one of the issues that they want addressed as a community is what about income inequality? Well, if I were in that community and I can only pretend to understand what their thoughts are, is probably that was one of the issues I would care about. And
Yeah.
do I think UBI is? Here's the great part about UBI. It's an end run around so many of these discussions. Like when we want to talk about like let's be honest, everybody here, both in Discord and in the Yang Gang in general, and basically anyone else who pays attention to politics at all, knows that a discussion about reparations is something that we all talk about, right?
Yeah.
Do I personally support it? I'm gonna just tell you I don't. There's a lot of practical reasons why I don't support it. Do I think that people are coming from a place where they do they think do I think that people are coming from a place in their heart about it? Yeah, but I
Mm.
don't know that you can effectively implement something like that that doesn't absolutely destroy society too. And I
Right.
think I've got serious concerns about that.
It's
But the
interesting.
great thing about UBI is it doesn't end run around that conversation and says, you know what? Yeah, I think that there is some room to just give people money, and you know what? We can give everybody money, and we can. But here's the great part about UBI, in my opinion. For those conversations, and specifically for that conversation, it literally helps that conversation almost more than everything else.
Yeah.
It is the biggest move that addresses that issue versus every other discussion by every other political candidate ever.
Yeah.
Period.
It because you're literally giving
Period.
you're literally giving those families money.
We're not even gonna argue about it anymore. We're just gonna give everybody money. And guess what? The people who probably benefit from that money the most, people at the bottom of the income scale, who specifically that community cares that very much about. And I totally get it, and I'm 100% for
Right.
it.
I think if any candidate out there could successfully implement reparations, it would be Yang. He would look at the data. He would look at
Yeah,
things that need to be funded more than others, and he would notice that it's black families getting the short end of the stick, and I think he would put more resources into those things, and then that could be a form of reparations.
I think that the way that I look at it is there are things that we can do policy wise that will proportionately help solve those problems that bring up those discussions in the first place, man. Like like eh, like I am very cognizant of the fact that there's only so many ways that you can weave and continue to maintain a society staying together. And when
Hmm.
you start trying to manipulate too much the winners and losers based on identities, you get into a really thorny kind of politics that is potentially hyper destructive.
Right.
It can be pretty problematic. Like how much of Black America thinks reparations are a good idea is like 60%.
Mm-hmm.
How much of everyone else thinks that's a great idea? 4%.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
So
it's like if you just tried to if you as a candidate tried to convince half the country that this is what you were going to do, and it was going to be a primary objective of your campaign, you're talking about something that a very large portion of the American people are not on board with. And right or wrong, I'm not debating the ethics of it. I'm debating the practicality of it.
right, and
Yeah.
in a way, I think UBI is just like you said. It's just the most straightforward way of helping everyone. Because
It's an end run around all these conversations, and you get to help the. It's literally going to help that problem more than anything else. It's
yeah,
probably going to be the most effective way to help that problem,
yeah,
and it means a lot to me. I can't tell you how much that means to me.
hmm I agree.
Yeah.
So
So let's see what
Dylan
else.
Dylan S says, I think the other candidates truly believe that their policies and agenda resonate with Americans, but as Yang's agenda reaches more and more Americans, or as Yang's agenda reaches more and more, Americans will gravitate to the logic of Yang's plan for us. I would agree actually with that because I think a big problem that Andrew Yang is obviously facing lack of media attention, lack of name recognition, and lack of fundraising. Because,
Yeah. Well, I don't think the fundraising is actually the problem, to be honest with you. Like,
well,
I think our fundraising is actually pretty stellar
oh, it
considering
is. It
name
is.
recognition. I think
Right.
it's
No, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we've got like literally people are forming super PACs for us. They
Yeah.
don't do that and start promising millions of dollars. They don't do that unless they think they're backing somewhat of a winner.
From that perspective, I would 100% yes, say yes. But I was saying in comparison to other candidates, of course, we are doing a great job with fundraising compared to like quarter two and quarter one. But quarter four, I think we're 100% set to out. I mean, Yang himself said we're outpacing quarter three at this same moment in time that we were in quarter three. We're actually outpacing.
Yeah.
So we could actually be. I think I saw this in the part one of our discussion. Someone asked way back when, like, where do you think our fundraising is at right now for quarter four?
It's a good question. Do I like I've heard numbers batted around. It sounds like it's going to be 15 to 20, and frankly, if we pulled that off, I think we were doing pretty well. I suspect we'll probably do well over 15 if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but do I think one of the important things, and yeah, I'm not even going to say it because it might take the wind out of people's sails in terms of their efforts.
All
Like
right,
there's
the
a lot
whole
of
hash.
there's a lot of things that campaigns do to make sure that they stay funded. And like to full disclosure, Yang is not the only campaign I'm financially supporting in this cycle. I've got other candidates
Right.
I've got to keep money flowing to.
Full
Um,
disclosure, yeah.
yeah. And I'm not talking about other presidential candidates. I'm talking about like congressional candidates.
Yeah.
I gotta spread the love around, right?
Right.
And there's definitely like there's a pattern to fundraising that has to be followed in order to keep enthusiasm up, and I understand all of that.
Exactly.
But I'm cautiously optimistic that we're actually doing quite well.
That's good. What ballpark estimate would you give right now in quarter four? Like, how much do you think we've raised right now?
I would really, really be talking out of my ass, but
I mean, so would everyone, but
yeah, but I would have to say we're probably in the 15 to 20 range, and it's
you think we've raised 15? You might have misheard. Like, how much you think we've raised so far? We've raised so far in October alone.
yeah. I don't know. Like I really, really don't know.
Um, Not even an estimate. Just a
Um,
random guess.
um,
Like, okay, let's say we hit the 1.5 million goal.
well, so we can actually figure this out. If you actually want to think about, if you take a look at that, at some of those status trackers for some of the goals that we've hit, we're doing what, maybe 200,000 a day.
200,000 a day. Yeah.
I mean, like close to it, like maybe 100,000 to 200,000 a day. So that's
Yeah.
times what? 30 days. So that's $6 million, and then that's per month, right? So that would put us at 18, right? If we were consistently pulling that much money in, that's how much
Right.
we'd have after 3 days, or
Right.
three months. Sorry. Um, and then one person saying my prediction for Q4 is 22 million, greater than 22 million. That's pretty aggressive prediction there.
We would need
Mount
some
Solar.
crazy money bombs in
Yeah,
November and December.
yeah. The thing that you got to keep in mind is what I think. It's more. I think it's a better question to ask. What do you think Yang's campaign raising money capabilities are? And like, here's what I would say about that. The amount of money that we raised in a single day at the end of last quarter is Yang can't over he can really overplay that if he were to hammer that fact home every day. Like if he literally went out on all social media and like every time he got on TV and talked about we raised $1 million in one day. On this YouTube podcast, I'm happy to talk about that.
Right.
Do I want to really, really advertise that fact? I don't really want to push that too hard in the public sphere, because then it spooks the bigger funded candidates, and
Right.
they start to gird up a little bit. We want to have them let their guard down.
Yeah. Let them continue to be
Let them
ignorant.
let them frankly continue phoning it in. Like Biden is literally phoning it in right now.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just gonna cruise. I know what's happened. I've run to Senate 1,000 times. I'm sure I'll just pull it off in the end. And
Exactly.
if the rest of the candidates played that game, he would win. But we're not playing that game. Like, it's obvious to me we're not. So
Yeah. We have a comment here from MTSLR again. They say the greatest thing about UBI and democracy dollars, when implemented, I think it'll never be repealed, and politicians will have to make it better. Yeah, I don't see if UBI becomes implemented, I don't see it going away.
no, and I literally had this discussion with what I would consider a Yang hawk. In other words, someone who's super reticent to say that Yang's just going to walk away with all of this and that he's going to implement UBI 100%. But our discussion went something like this: if UBI gets implemented and gets past Congress, and people get that first check in the mail, is donezo. We're gonna have UBI for the rest of as long as you and I are alive. They're never
Yeah.
taking that away from Americans. The country will disintegrate before we ever give it up, because
Yep.
frankly in the future. So I mean, we'll probably get into this at some point in the talk, but like I work in the IT field. That's why I wear this shirt, right?
Right. Right.
I work on projects that involve automation. I automate 6-figure jobs. 6 figures, not 5.
Wow.
Um, there are things coming down the pipe that people fundamentally are not. They have grown up in an education system that is not preparing them for any of this reality. We're talking
Mm-hmm.
about, and I'm not talking about skill sets for jobs. I'm talking about philosophical understandings of how a society works. People do not understand what automation at the 30, 40, and 50% marks for all human labor is going to look like. And frankly, the rest of the world doesn't either. Like, we've never gotten to this point. As
Exactly. It's a
humanity,
first for
we've never
us.
gotten to this point.
Yeah.
But there are people in my field that are thinking about this. They're
Mm-hmm.
all like, UBI's got to happen.
Yeah.
UBI's got to happen, and if not, then there's going to be some sort of basically guaranteed. There's going to be some sort of guarantee of resource flow that's going to happen to everyone, and it's going to have to be somewhat egalitarian. Like, I understand libertarians and conservatives don't want to necessarily completely talk about that, but like I can tell you from
Mm-hmm.
my box seats at the stadium, this is what's coming down the pipe towards everyone, and Yang is the only person talking about it. That's why I'm sitting
Exactly.
here talking to you.
Exactly. And yeah.
Otherwise, I'd be quietly supporting Bernie and not saying much.
No, actually, that's probably what I would do as well if Yang didn't exist. I wouldn't run a politics channel. I wouldn't be interested in politics at all. I
Yeah.
would just randomly maybe consider walking up to the voting booth on election day. I wouldn't even vote in the primaries. I think
Yeah,
that probably would have happened.
yeah. Did you vote? Did you vote in 2018?
I did not, because like I
No.
said, between that off period between Trump and Yang, like I
Yeah,
was super enthusiastic about Trump,
yeah,
and obviously I'm not anymore. But I was so disengaged in politics. I think I even remember like a year ago, I was in the car with some friends, and they asked, and like we were all like 18, and they asked if I registered to vote, and I just straight up said, nah, I'm not really interested in that. And then
sounds
look
like
where
a
I am
garbage
now.
waste of my time.
Yeah, I was like, I have no interest in that. And like a few weeks after hearing about Yang and watching his Breakfast Club and Joe Rogan, I just went to the DMV and registered to vote.
Yeah, that's super awesome, man. And it's I hope that you carry that willingness to change your mind through your entire life as you get into a career, whatever you're choosing to do with your life, and like however, hopefully through maybe starting a family. I don't know what you plan on doing,
That would be
but
nice.
yeah,
That,
man. But like I hope that you carry that willingness to change your mind about it, important decisions like this forward. Like I've been, I was pretty lucky. Like I had a grandma who was basically like she told me the whole story of our family and was like, "Hey, look, politics is what saved your family's life. If you're not involved, you might not be here. Like we're
wow.
talking literal starvation." So it's like you can either be involved or you can be a victim of, and you should always choose to be involved. And I had that impressed on me, and I took it seriously. But have I voted in every single election I could? No. I'll be 100% about that. I
Hmm.
voted in all the big elections,
Oh
but
yeah.
but it's important that it's great that Yang is bringing along people such as yourself who felt completely disconnected
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have any interest, and now we're doing this, right?
Yep. Had no reason to, felt didn't feel like anyone truly spoke to me.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
can pull someone like you, and then like you wouldn't be doing this for Trump.
No.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I was
If,
like 15, 16.
yeah, but would you have been if Yang hadn't come along? Would you potentially be voting for Trump again?
No.
No. What did Trump do that turned you off? That was a good question.
Just not even just the corruption, his lies, but I kind of got over the whole outsider thing and drain the swamp stuff when I realized
Realize when he was the swamp.
yeah, he was a swamp, man.
He's
It
the
was
problem
disgusting
with
to see.
the biggest problem with Trump is that he was the swamp all along. He was the swamp in the 90s. Like I can tell you the first time I remember seeing Trump. It was late 1980s, and I saw him. I think I saw him on Oprah Winfrey, and I was like, "This dude is a slime ball." That was the very first thing I was like, "This guy is not someone to be trusted." And sure enough, like over the years, I was like, it just got worse and worse and
Yo.
worse. And then when he started running for president, I was like, "You have got to be kidding me! For real?"
Yeah, I can't imagine like watching Trump's career over the like
Dylan
years
says,
and
"I'm
years.
53 and this will be my first presidential vote." Dylan, we gotta know,
Shout out to Dylan.
man. That is
Yeah,
friggin' bravo, true MVP of the game. Why, man? We gotta know why you feel that way. Like 53 years old is a long time to go without voting.
yeah.
Yeah, really, that's a we might not get an immediate answer, but it'd be a
I,
good a good response, right?
exactly.
Agreed. First person deserving of my vote. It's big, man. It's really impressive. Can we ask what state you're in?
Yeah. Can we know the state? Because that's just incredible. But he also said, I think we need 30 million in a war chest for next push going to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
We have like 6, 7 million right now for more mainstream ads. I
Uh
would
oh.
agree.
You you near those fires, by the way? I thought you were in California.
Oh, I'm in New York.
Oh, you're in New York. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Oh, you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah, those are so annoying. I actually have no clue what they are for. But yeah, it'll
Oh,
go away soon.
Dino's got a question you asked me, they asked me is because of automation, will artistic and caregiving jobs be more important in the future, or what other careers will be demanded or suited for the fourth industrial revolution? It's actually a really, really cool
It's
question,
a good
and I
question.
think that the answer is actually yes. And it's actually a beautiful question because it, the problem with our current scenarios is that art and let's see, is it art and caregiving? They are unfortunately very, very low paying jobs for the vast majority of people that go into those fields, right? Like
Hmm.
someone says I want to be a musician or an artist, or I want to take care of my parents. There's basically no money in it unless you win the lottery.
Exactly.
um,
I think.
do I think a future in which UBI expands the possibility that more people could go and do that? Yeah, absolutely. And it's the right thing for society. I think Yang has actually come out and said that, like, hey, look, art especially goes a long way in actually weaving together, as I like to say, weaving together society in ways that don't break it apart.
Hmm.
And there's it's really hard to do that when you're just constantly like living on the street. Like here's a good thing that is a really piece of stupid trivia. You know what Katy Perry was doing before she got famous?
What was she doing?
She was living in her car.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
She was living in her car and working at a coffee shop and playing guitar sometimes. And that's like that's pop star, right? She's worth $250 million now. But like
Crazy.
if that's the decision that you have to make in order to be an artist, I think the bar for entry is a little too high, right?
Yeah.
I think
Think
a
of how
one
many.
bedroom apartment or like a room or a two bedroom apartment with roommates, yeah, that's a little bit more reasonable. But you're living in your car, come on, man. That's not this. That's frankly, that's not a. We can afford better than that as a nation. I can tell you right now, people in my industry, we can afford to give some people money to not have that be the kind of world we live in.
Hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah, art journal Blade Master goes, art journalists, music can all be done by AI as well. No, I understand
I.
that. Understand that, and that's
I
valid
I'm
point.
not sure if music will ever be automated anytime soon. Like.
Oh, it actually has. There's certain there's machines are definitely capable of creating it. But
Well, good
the
music.
question is like, yeah, good, and a subjective opinion, right?
Yeah.
Do I think that machines will make music that is the that has the most crossover appeal? Yeah, there's actually, I don't know if you know this. There's actually a chord and musical pattern progression that they've actually figured out is the most appealing to the most amount of people.
Hmm.
But that doesn't, to me, that's not necessarily good music. That's just most popular music, and that's not the same thing, right?
Right.
um, but yeah, you were saying that you don't agree. Like, what is your opinion on music for that?
I think it's not just the music itself, but like the fan bases. Like no one will ever crowd
Oh yeah, I
around
didn't thought about that.
No one will ever crowd around a robot. A robot doesn't have social media. A robot, you
Well, there
can't.
is Hatsune Miku.
Oh yeah,
you know,
technically
you
that's
know,
correct.
you know about that, right?
I do believe I know what you're referencing.
Yeah, yeah, there
It's
is.
just I feel like for so many people like that support artists, it's more about the music. I mean, of course, music is a big part, but it's about like the culture as well. Like
Massive culture, man. Like I don't think like
fan bases.
I think it would be extremely hard to for AI to replicate things like what is it, Young Brian?
Rich Brian?
Yeah, Rich Brian. Sorry, Rich
Yeah.
Brian. Yeah, like which is frankly like that. Just seeing Yang involved in that, and then like
That was
learning about
fun.
how that happened was kind of amazing. It was like this is a whole subculture that I do not understand, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you want to get back to maybe talking about some
Early
early strategy
early
stuff?
state strategy, yeah. But it's been fun answering these other questions. But
Yeah, man.
early state strategies. Well, as I said, Andrew Yang himself said, obviously they're gonna still 100% compete in Iowa, but they also have their eyes set on the other three states as well. That being South Carolina, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada.
I'm gonna just take a look at the presidential election calendar. So February 3rd we have Iowa. February 11th we have New Hampshire. That actually will be pretty amazing because I think you and I both agree, and I think everyone in the gang kind of agrees that I think we're gonna kill it in New Hampshire.
I think we will.
Um, Nevada is before South Carolina though. I did not realize that.
Nevada's. Oh, so South Carolina's dead last, or yeah,
Yeah, in the first four it's dead
first
last.
four.
And then
Interesting.
on March 3rd,
It's Super
it's
Tuesday.
Super Tuesday,
Yeah.
which we got everyone overseas, which apparently our overseas fans base is massive. That's so cool. um,
Crazy.
but Texas, man, I really think we could potentially pull off some crazy stunts in Texas. Like I think if Yang were to just put just a little bit, and those of us on the ground out here would just put a little bit of effort into pulling these Republicans. I can tell you this much: this is the conversation I have with my quote unquote Trump friends. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the conversation I have in Texas. You don't like the way Democrats have been handling elections for a long time. They're like, nah, screw all that. Right? I
Yeah.
was like, how about you give us a chance to bring our best guy? And they're like, well, who do you think that is? And I'm like, it's this guy. And once I
Yeah.
explain it and I explain what he's about, especially when I talk about not wanting wanting to get us out of identity politics, I got people who are rabid, never in a million years going to vote for a Democrat in the general, absolutely willing to vote for him in the primary, and it's an open primary state.
There you go.
Yep. We all know Trump's going to win. I literally tell everyone, I was like, Trump's basically, there's no one basically going to oppose him in Texas. Why don't you give our guy a chance? And they don't have an argument against it. They're like, that sounds great. And I was like, man, if we were to just push that, just push it a bit, I think we could take the whole state. I think Beto's out by that point, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, if
Yeah.
if if not, if not the early states, Super Tuesday is going to be also known as super. Well, not super, but the end of so many campaigns
Yeah,
because
it'll be super doomsday.
Super Doomsday. Hey,
Yeah.
there we go. Super
Super doom
Tuesday and Super Doomsday.
super doomsday for so many campaigns. It won't be for ours. Like we're gonna be here all the way through.
Yeah.
Like I think frankly, we could probably lose that day and like we would still be here. But I mean, like we don't want. I don't think we would
Obviously.
win the. We wouldn't win the nomination at that point. But do I think that we would still be competitive in the other states? Probably. But but man, California and Texas on the same day, like
That would be crazy.
like
Yeah.
I almost feel like who even cares about the first four states at that point? Because we it's very possible we win California, and we could win Texas. And if we win Texas and California, the rest of this campaign is
It's
it's
sister.
ours.
It's yeah.
That's ours. That's
It's
ours.
ours.
Harris is going to be out before this point, so that
I think so. Yeah.
that would be a California concern. Do I think Bernie's going to do massively well in California? Yeah, yeah. So when we talk about early state strategy, I think we got to include Super Tuesday
Yeah.
because like it's literally 30 days later, and the hellstorm that's going to happen between February 3rd and March 3rd is going to kind of be crazy.
That is, I can't wait to see just so many ads being spammed by all these candidates. Like, they're gonna be like erratic.
Yeah, yeah. So I do kind of want to ask, like this may be the first campaign where you're really, really paying attention to what's going
Yep.
down, right?
And not just
How do you
not
feel
just
about
hype.
it? Is it exciting?
It's exciting, man. I love the feeling of being a part of something, and I love the feeling of other people just being as excited as I am, and I'm glad I found the Reddit and I found the Discord, and not to say that you know um that I'm like trying to be in an echo chamber or anything, because I don't view the Discord or the Reddit as an echo chamber. I think we have fair discussions about Andrew Yang, and it's not like we're always 100% of the time saying that
We
Andrew
have
Yang.
some, yeah, we have some pretty heated disagreements in Discord about it.
Yeah, and that's
And I
perfectly
think that that's
fine, and
super healthy, man.
it is. It is.
That's the way that you actually build, like, through your disagreements and your willingness to say, you know what, you disagree with me, but I still care about you as a person. Hashtag humanity first.
Yep, humanity first.
Every time you do that, it's like building steel I-beams on top of each other, man. It's just, that's the way you build you build something to last.
Exactly. And I have one personal question. Well, do you think that question to you. Do you think that Yang doing good, like Yang doing bad, well, not bad, but being between 2 and 3% nationally doesn't necessarily mean right now that he'll be doing bad in the early states? Because nationally includes all 50 states, but the early states are only 4 of them.
What I don't know is that average like a running average where they keep all of the early polling, or is it only recent polling, like last 30 days, that they're averaging out?
Oh,
Because if it's from the beginning of time, like if we're talking RCP, like
no,
average from the beginning, I don't know the answer to that. That's why I'm saying, because I haven't looked into it deep enough, but it's actually something
RCP
that's been
does
bothering me.
RCP does the last 2 weeks.
Last 2 week average. Okay.
Yeah, about.
Am I concerned that we've gotten kind of stuck in some polling? I mean, would I love to see us higher? Yeah, that'd be great. We want to see fervor, right? But
Yeah.
But am I completely worried? No, because they got the polling so very wrong with Trump.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, like that's the kind of polling that like didn't see, that thought Jeb Bush was going to be president or was going to potentially be running against Hillary for president, and that did not happen at all.
Not at all. Trump put a stop to that immediately.
Yeah.
But then again, no one expected Trump to be like that, and to actually win people over with the strategy that he had.
Yeah.
Not even strategy. Trump was just being Trump. It's crazy.
I think Trump was just saying crazy things.
Yeah, I think I actually saw that in the comments. Someone said, was Trump acting crazy for more of the media to pay attention to him? And I think he might have been overacting a bit. Because I'm gonna, I'm gonna say that Trump probably realized that he was starting to become what the media love to talk about.
I promise you, I'm still listening. I'm just.
No, it's all good.
It's super warm here, so I'm turning up my thermostat.
Oh, you can do that from your phone?
Yeah, I got a Google Home.
Ah, that's cool.
Because it's the future, yo.
Yeah, it is the future. But yeah, back to early states. Yeah, I think that. How many states do you think Yang will pick up out of the 4 early states? Like either place in the top 3 or win throughout, like just outright win.
Or what do you think that needs? There are probabilities. I think that it's possible he wins South Carolina. I think he's possibility he wins New Hampshire. Okay. Do I think? Yeah, I think that you're probably spot on in saying top 4, top 3 in Iowa. And then we get to Super Tuesday and do it. I haven't looked at the polling in Nevada. Like you'd have to fill me in. Like, it's not that I can't. I could go look and Google it up.
I got you.
I'm cheating, right?
Right. Nevada, unfortunately, there's only been 2 polls out, and there's been so little polls. Since the beginning of September, there's only been 2 polls, and Yang got 3 in both of them.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
It's not a bad start.
Yeah, not bad at all.
I'm really interested to see, he spent some time in Nevada, right? Or in Las Vegas. I would really be interested to see what his efforts are there. I can't stress this enough. Everyone who's watching this stream, and obviously most of you guys are Yang supporters. If you have not personally canvassed for a campaign before, it is physically intimidating. You are talking to people who you are talking to people who potentially don't want to be talking to you,
Yeah.
and conflict is not fun in a face-to-face scenario. It is absolutely critical that we canvass in person. And
Yep.
like when I'm talking about canvassing, the canvassing I plan on doing, I plan on going to frankly, I live in Dallas. I plan to go to the poorest of poor neighborhoods where my personal safety
Yeah.
be on the line, and I don't give a shit because it's literally we need those votes. We need
This.
those votes. We need those people. And here's the
Yep.
thing: if we show up in places like that, none of the other candidates are going there. Maybe some Bernie Field folks,
Hmm.
but not a lot. Not a
Yeah.
lot.
I mean,
Like there's a real appeal that can be had there to the people who are. If you don't have a criminal record, you can still vote, but you're at the super bottom end of the poverty scale, and it's ours for the taking, man. It's ours for the
exactly.
taking. thousand
Exactly.
dollars a month.
Once that goes mainstream, like once Yang literally goes mainstream and everyone hears about the 1,000 a month among the other policies, I feel like Yang would just run away with it
Yeah,
because there's so much media suppression going on, unfortunately, that like
yeah.
it's terrible. But as
It's
soon as it goes mainstream and people see Yang pick up top three in New
I can
Hampshire,
tell
top two in New Hampshire.
I can tell you one thing that fills my heart with glee is that the media literally the Rachel Maddows and the Rachel Maddows of the media world are absolutely quasi infuriated that Kamala Harris is not going to be
Yeah,
the they thought for sure that this was that time, and I'm like,
it's not that time.
no, it's never gonna be that time. It's never gonna be that time.
Not with a candidate like her.
People No, but they really think that that was going to be it. They really thought it, and they're mad that it's not her. They're mad that it. They're mad they're even having to talk about Bernie and Biden and Pete Buttigieg.
Hmm.
They're mad about that. They're not thrilled with talking about Warren. They're mad it's not Kamala. I'm like, I'm sorry, but she was a bad person.
She is.
She literally locked people up in California for marijuana, and I'm sorry. You can see by my hat, I ain't down with that shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-mm.
But I mean, like anyone who's ever listened to me in Discord knows I'm no fan of her, and like no one, not even my liberal friends are fans. Like, like you take the most social justice inclined spectrum of my friends, and I don't know anyone who likes her.
Yeah, I'm surprised she was polling at like 15% post first debate. I
Oh, they
was
thought for sure. They thought for
Yeah, they
sure
really
she
really
was going to
thought
be
she
the
had it.
one,
Yep.
and they were going to toe the line for her too, man. They were thrilled. They were thrilled that that was a prospect they couldn't wait to wrap their head around.
Yep.
I'm like, nah, not this time. Not
Mm-mm.
this time.
Yeah. And speaking about canvassing and you saying that you want to travel to canvas, when are you gonna do that?
So I've got some prior commitments. My family and I are going to be out of country for a month here for
Right.
November. We're out. I'm not trying to say we're doing anything great, but we're doing some charity work out of country.
That's
Um,
great.
but when we get back, I will probably be. I've already had an initial meeting with the DFW Yang Gang, and
That's
so
cool.
whatever physical canvassing stuff, I'm gonna probably coordinate with them. They you've done the local Yang Gang meetup in New York, right?
Um, I've actually gone to zero.
Gone to zero. All right.
I've canvassed independently.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I haven't
I
had
think we
time.
all have done that, like at some
Well,
point.
I'm saying I've only done that for the Yang campaign so far. Unfortunately, my college schedule is busy,
Okay.
and I do live in Long Island, not New York City.
Yeah.
So the Yang Gang groups are not as frequent or as close as compared to if I lived in the city.
It seems like I guess like Brooklyn that's AOC territory.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean that's still a whole hour away from me. So
oh, okay, fair enough. You're way far up the island, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah, no. I used to live in Connecticut, so I can understand a little bit.
and
I kind of know the geography.
actually I had this crazy idea of going to Iowa to canvas, like taking a trip to Iowa.
You should. You should. If you haven't done it, I mean, like, they're used to people from everywhere in the world, including outside the United States, showing up to like talk to them about presidential candidates. And I can only get this. You think about this in your head, right? It's really funny. It's like, can you imagine some farmhouse and some dude from Sweden's like, "Hi, how's it going? Let me talk to you about this candidate." And they're like, "Okay, number 57. Thank you so much."
Yeah, I mean, Iowa's been first in the nation for how long? Like,
Ever,
yeah,
forever.
pretty much forever.
Um, but yeah, if you're thinking if you are at all capable of making it happen, you should,
I should.
because they need all of the help they can get, literally all the help they can get.
Mhm. And of course, New York is important to pick up too. But I looked at um, I guess the timeline of when the states will be voting, and
Yeah,
New York will be like the 34th state or something like that to cast their vote. It'll be all the way in April after Super Tuesday after
that's
early states.
this is really why I don't like the primary system, because it's like New York should have a big say, right?
Yeah, because there's so many people.
There's so many people,
But by then,
and that is
uh, I feel like the primary might just be made up by the time New York gets to vote.
yeah, yeah. I'm still blown away by the fact that 53-year-old has never voted. It's kind of
Yeah,
fucking, that is like really, really inspiring.
it is. It shows that Yang can truly inspire and motivate all walks of life.
I mean, like, to give you an idea, that's a 53-year-old guy who's never voted in politics, and is like watching a 19-year-old streamer on YouTube, and some idiot like myself.
Hey, I mean, give yourself some credit. You are in the IT. You're seeing automation and all that head on.
I'm part of it, yeah. Like, and
Yeah.
it actually wasn't until it really wasn't until Yang came along that I truly understood my role in it at all. And when it was like when I finally realized, oh my God, that's me. It was like a
Yeah.
bomb went off, and I
Mm.
was like, I'm part of this thing. I'm part of this. Like, it's not. This is not something that someone else is talking about that I'm not involved in.
Hmm.
This is me. This is me, my company, my projects specifically, not just my company, but my own projects I'm involved in. I'm like, we literally have we have a saying in IT. It's like, go away or I'll write a small shell script to replace you. Right? Like,
That's
that's
funny.
not a joke especially in my industry. It's just especially my specific slice of the industry. It's not a
Right.
joke at all.
Well, I mean, Yang himself is actually for automation. Like he has no plans of slowing it down or anything. But instead of running away from automation, he wants to embrace it almost and just get UBI as quickly as possible, so we can adapt. So we can all adapt to automation because he understands it's inevitable.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So
It's eh, no one who says that they're gonna fight automation,
yeah, that's
like
the story.
Trump, they're not bringing the jobs back. They're not de-automating anything.
Mm-mm.
The only conversations that are really productive are, what are you gonna do when it's here?
Yep. It's just
Like,
inevitable and it's silly to blame anything else and it's silly to try to fight it.
yeah, yeah. It's best that we get our cut of, and it's so amazing that I even get to talk about a candidate. I literally talk about a candidate who's saying, let's treat data as petroleum. Well, like, yeah, of course, someone in my position thinks that, but the fact that someone like yourself understands that message, that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
Because it's like in IT, we've kind of been preaching this gospel for a while now. We're like, these people who are giving away their data to Twitter and Facebook and every other social media company do not understand what they are doing. I
Mm-hmm.
understand it. Like, I understand it patently clear because it pays my bills. But
Exactly.
do most Americans who are not in my field understand it? No. Even when Yang talks about it, you don't exactly understand how it's all working. Like, I understand how it works, and it's like, man, like, yes, we should pay it. We should tax it. We should actually revert proper like data property or privacy rights and data property rights back to the individual. This is all things that absolutely have to happen in order for society continue in order for society to maintain itself and not disintegrate. We need to revert some of these rights back to ourselves. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, it's especially when it comes to data itself, like the data profiles, and then we get into like shadow profiles, if you know what that is.
I do not know what that is, but
Shadow profile is when you make the conscientious decision to not engage in social media, and these companies see a hole where you should be, and they can theorize who you are and what you're doing with your time,
that's
and they
crazy.
create a profile on you.
That's
That's what a shadow profile is. And like, if
kind of
anyone
scary.
doesn't know, you've now been educated as to what a shadow profile is. You can Google it, figure it out.
Wow.
It's kind of mind blowing that they know who you are even when you don't tell them who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a real
these
thing.
companies are
They're doing this, and
scary.
then they're turning around and selling these pieces of data, like hundreds of like we said, hundreds and thousands of times over to all the other websites out there that subscribe to these services, and they're making thousands of dollars off of every one of us. It's worth more than petroleum, and that's a big statement. And petroleum's frankly worth a lot.
Yeah. I mean, data is the new oil of the 21st century, as
It's
Andrew Yang
better.
says.
It's like oil and gold combined. It's actually kind of crazy because
Yeah.
it's like you can the if you know this word, fungibility of it is,
Fungibility.
yeah, the ability for it to transmute into to anything you need it to. Like
Hmm.
oil, you got to go and refine it, feed it through a refinery, and then burn off the excess and take get rid of the parts that aren't useful, and then half of it goes to plastics. Or not half of it, but a portion of it goes to plastics. The other portion of it goes to fuel, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Like that's that whole supply chain, right? Like data is way more easy to fix than that. You can take any part of the data set and go and then immediately start doing things with it without basically any cost except the power to run a CPU to process that stuff, which is basically zero. Like
Yep.
per ounce of oil, I'm sure it costs a fair amount of money per meg of data, which is quite a lot. It costs basically zero.
So yeah, data is, and we should, like Andrew Yang says, we should be getting a check from that. We should be getting a slice from that.
Yeah. What are you studying in college, by the way?
It's a good question. I'm currently
Or
on
are you
this.
studying anything?
Yeah. I'm currently an undecided major, but it is my second semester,
Hmm.
so I just got put in liberal arts or something. But once I do realize what I want to do, obviously I'll change my major. But I'm taking 4 classes right now. I'm taking psychology, politics, acting, and filmmaking.
That's pretty awesome. Your acting and filmmaking classes, are they technology forward or are they more classical in
Technology
terms of
forward,
good, good? Yeah, I was
I would
gonna
say.
say but like you need to be getting your money's worth out of those kind of classes because the velocity of technology is moving so fast. I hate to use something that rhymes, but
Yeah,
it's moving so fast.
I agree.
Thanks for sharing Shadow Profile TV. First time I've heard of it. Makes concrete how IT companies are making money off us. Yeah, Dino.
Yeah,
Yeah, just Google it, seriously, everyone who's watching, Google Shadow Profiles. I'm not out to scare you. I'm not out to tell you that there's some vast conspiracy. I'm just telling you, hey, this is the way the data and information technology world works. Like, I mean, like this is where we're at now. This is how good we've gotten.
yep. It's crazy the whole concept of no matter how much you try to hide your digital footprints,
It's basically impossible. I
it's
have these
impossible.
debates with my close friends that I've known for decades, and they don't quite. When I try to tell them, hey, look, you've got shadow profiles, they're like, yeah, but, and I'm like, no, there's no buts. You have shadow profiles. They know who you are. You're not hiding from them. Like if the second the real problem with that comes into as soon as you have your name on any online form, you can almost assume that that name is getting repopulated into a lot of databases. Like
Damn.
especially if it's I mean, like especially if it's social media, but basically if it's anything else, they all share. When you hit that accept button on the terms of service, you can expect that that terms of service basically says we have a right to resell your data.
Yep.
Yang's trying to stop that by saying, hey, that's not good enough. Can't just sign away your rights by making a big giant accept button and then text that's like in 2-point font. That's not
Yeah.
fair.
It's not fair.
It's wrong. It is wrong.
Yeah. I think data should be a property, right?
It,
And hopefully, yeah, Yang makes that come true. Because I mean,
he's gonna have it like
there's gonna be
the hill
pushback.
to the hill to climb on that is going to be pretty high, and we're like unlike UBI, which is fairly going to be a frankly easier fight.
Definitely a lot easier.
Yeah, data privacy. We're gonna have to fight. We're gonna have to fight people like CEO Jack Dorsey of Twitter and Zuckerberg and Bezos. We're not so worried about because despite you do know that Amazon also runs basically probably huge portions, like over 20% of the web, right?
Really, with
Yeah,
their cloud servers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, AWS, Amazon Web
AWS.
Services. So people
Oh,
don't really realize how big that is. It's actually
20%, over 20%.
massive.
Yeah.
It's massive. It's like Facebook massive.
Jeez.
But the thing that Amazon has going for it in the data privacy realm is they definitely do data transforms on all that stuff, all the data they ingest, but it's not like Google and Facebook where they're like data is their life. Like Amazon has hard goods. That's their real business. Their real business, and then like they serve other people's companies out of AWS, but
Wow.
it's not that's not selling, like actually having profiles on you isn't their main business. But Facebook, it's definitely their entire business model. Twitter, it's their entire business model.
Yeah.
So we got to talk about this, man. The big
We are the
news of today.
products.
The big news of today. What was the big news that came out today?
It's not quite coming to mind, but
Jack Dorsey said no more
no.
paid political ads on Twitter.
Yeah, he did say that, and Yang actually applauded that and supports the idea,
As
Yang
every
should.
campaign should.
Yes, as every campaign should.
Trump, of course, did not, because why? That's actually a sad Trump bomb.
Yeah.
For him, because that as much as he thinks he gets retweeted, he probably has to pay for some of that.
Yo.
Yang probably doesn't have to pay for a lot.
Yeah, probably not.
But
I support the idea 100% that there should be less just buying your way, like less money in politics.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like corporate money.
Yeah, it's definitely important that we make that distinction. Less corporate money. I don't have a problem with democracy dollars. So smart.
Oh yeah,
And like I would be happy if that was a higher number. But I don't know
right.
what
the we gotta start somewhere.
But we gotta start somewhere, man.
Yeah.
About $100 per election. I think that's what he's saying. It's an excellent starting spot because basically the bulk of Americans, they have no say. They have no say in how the financial game goes down, and that's not good for the whole system at all.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. But yeah, I'm glad that Jack Dorsey is doing that, and we can only hope that Mark Zuckerberg might follow in the footsteps. But of course, Jack Dorsey knows this is going to take a hit to his profits. So he actually puts morals over profits, which is good to see.
Yeah. And did you catch Jack's interview with Rogan? Did you watch that?
I did not.
He and his policy director, like his policy executive, did the whole Rogan thing, and that's where I didn't really have strong opinions about Twitter. And then what is it? Tim Pool was there. You know that guy.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
He was in there trying to say like Jack was just this guy who was just all out to deceive everybody, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, look, dude, you sound like a crackpot, man. Like this dude is clearly answering every question you have, but then when he gives you answers that you didn't want to hear, you try to talk over him, and it was
Mm-hmm.
really easy to tell who was who and what was what at that point. He was trying to his parent trying to back Dorsey into a corner on like, well, you're picking and choosing winners and you hate conservatives. And I was like, I don't think that that's really what he's doing. I think he's
Yeah.
probably pretty straightforward about his policies, but
Yep.
man, today was it was a seismic shift, man.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I suspect it may drag Facebook into it. Like
Yeah.
he may have set the course for Facebook because Zuckerberg,
It might be just.
as far as I know, political ad campaigns are not where Facebook is making its billions of dollars. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that that's true. I think that they make their billions through ads for traditional business and private sector stuff. Um, hope it's not counting. I'm just looking at some of these comments. To say the polls are
Yeah.
wrong. Hope it's not counting all the new voters' independence. Oh, GW, I don't think it is.
It's definitely not counting those people. It's counting.
Uh,
It's counting people that have a history of voting, specifically Democrats. Yeah, we're there's a lot. We're largely being unaccounted for. That's for sure. But we do have a comment from QOP13 here. They said, I had a friend who was a communication major taking a digital marketing class. She told us that she finds marketing students kind of creepy because they sit in groups trying to figure out how to manipulate people to think what we want to think what we want them to think, or even do what we want them to do.
yeah, and that gets into like I don't know if you ever heard the term what is it social or industrial psychology, business psychology is what I think it's called.
Business psychology.
Yeah, business psychology, also known as industrial organizational psychology, combines the art and science of psychology with useful and practical business applications. Oh, that's the internal that's the internal side. But yeah, mass marketing, like they've definitely weaponized psychology, and they're doing for advertising what Cambridge Analytica has done for politics, which I'm sure you're aware of CA, right?
Yeah, Cambridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know exactly how they did that? Like, do you know like the mechanics of how why that worked so well?
Actually, I think there was actually a documentary on it.
Yeah, there was on Netflix, and
I
it's
didn't
stuff
get
I
to
already
watch it
kind of
though.
knew about, but I didn't know it was as detailed as it
Yeah.
was. I didn't know it went. I didn't know that they were adopting tactics from our own special forces and intelligence organizations. That's not good.
Right. I think. Yeah. I think that I'll have to definitely watch the documentary. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite good. If anyone watching hasn't seen that, like when we talk about did like I know that there's probably a fair amount of reticence on the conservative and alt right, and then even the moderate side to say, hey, Russia didn't steal the election for Trump, and I'm like, no, they didn't. But I can tell you that there was definitely some money changing hands on the backside, and that Cambridge Analytica probably would have. You could say that Cambridge Analytica swayed probably enough voters that it mattered.
Yeah.
Um, but they wouldn't have even been able to come to the table without Hillary pulling some of the stunts she did. If she wouldn't have said
Exactly.
basket of deplorables and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like
She already.
Cambridge Analytica doesn't
Hmm.
even get to play the game at that point.
Yeah. Hillary already shot herself in the foot way
Yeah, she
before.
shut the Democratic Party in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she just walked away.
And then she walked away, and she pretended she literally called everyone who didn't vote for her, like basically she said it was all our faults. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and then she made that book.
She made a book that says, you're all lower than me. Like I'm
Basically.
that's basically what she said, if I remember correctly. You guys need to watch The Greatest Hack. Yeah, really makes you want to vote for Yang to protect your data. Greatest Hack, is that the CA one, or is that the other one? Greatest.
It might be the CA one.
Yep, that's the CA one. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is. You gotta watch that.
I'll
It's
have to watch it for sure.
really, really quite good. But man, you can only do so much when you're in college, right? Are you going full time?
Yeah, 4 classes, 12 credits.
Yep.
It's fun. I have a like I think we're already halfway through the fall semester, so like projects and like essays are starting to build up. But I'm still out here,
Yep.
finding time to make Yang Gang content and
Apparently. So, what is the attitude on campus about Yang at this point?
my campus doesn't seem to really be political. I've handed out
Do you wear your hat? Do you wear your hat
yeah,
to school?
24/7.
Yeah.
In
Nice,
my
nice.
in my politics class, it seems to be very Democrat leaning. That's for sure.
Yeah.
My professor, he pretty much hates both parties, and he really hates Bernie for some reason, and he will publicly say how much.
There are people that really, really hate Bernie.
Yeah, but he like
Like,
at the same time
like
it's
they're
crazy.
unnaturally hateful of Bernie.
But at the same time, he loves Yang for how data driven and factual he is. So that's kind of
What do you
crazy.
think about Tulsi as VP for Yang?
Tulsi
I
Gabbard.
vacillate about it. I vacillate about it. I don't know. What is your opinion on that?
Tulsi Gabbard is VP. That would be well. Yang has said in the past about wanting a strong female candidate or running mate,
Yep.
but he hasn't said necessarily that this person will be, in the Democratic will be one of the candidates running alongside him. I think it wouldn't be a bad thing because Tulsi would make up in or would strengthen Yang's foreign policy so much if she was vice president.
Yeah.
And but I guess the only thing I fear is that Yang and Tulsi might not be or might not cover such a widespread, I guess, audience. Like maybe Yang would.
I think that there are people on the farther left that make up some portion of the Democratic base that won't be okay with some of the things Tulsi says. Um, do I personally agree with her 100% about Syria? I don't. I think like you'll never hear me say anything other than this. We need to respect our allies. We need to respect people who have fought and died and bled for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Tulsi is one of those people, but the Kurds are also one of those people. Like frankly, I would wish that sooner rather than later, Andrew comes out and takes a real strong stance on this. We need to frankly offer blanket immunity to the Kurdish population and say whoever wants to come to America, we'll give you citizenship.
That would be
No,
a
no,
very
no questions asked.
bold thing to do. And
It's a very bold thing to do, but it needs to happen. It's the appropriate thing that we need to do for allies. It would go a long way in restoring confidence to the rest of our allies in the world by saying, "Hey, look,
yes.
you help out the United States, we got your back. We got your back, and we got your back in ways that don't that are unequivocal." Like frankly, when Trump came out and said, oh, the Kurds have done some bad things too, or it's their problem to deal with now. Frankly, I was like never more ashamed.
Yeah.
Never more ashamed. I was like, dude, you do not turn on your friends. Like anyone who's like all my people in my life, my private life that know me are like loyalty is my number one big thing.
That's
I was
same
like,
here,
you
honestly.
do not turn your back on your allies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you need to be allies with
Yeah,
every
not
single person out
everybody.
there, and we need to. It's fair to reorganize. Like, just because, like, here's a good one. The Philippines are a real hard sell, right?
Right.
Duarte, like, do I think we need a complete reset in the Philippines? Well, yeah, we do, and we probably need to have a discussion about what he Duterte, right? That's what he says.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we need to think about like how those kinds of relationships. But here's the problem we run into with places like the Philippines. We decide not to support them anymore. What happens when China comes walking in, right?
Exactly.
When Beijing comes in and says, "Hey, thanks for a lot. We'll just take the entire Asia, the entire area, right?"
Right.
Those kind of countries are led by who's ever going to put the money on the table. So I think that there's ways to exert force and exert some compliance in those relationships. But do we need to be abandoning allies that have literally fought and died for us? We can never do that. We've got to make some sort of agreement with those kinds of allies, especially the ones who have died for us.
Yep.
There's
Reach
just
a middle
no
ground.
there's just no question.
So we have a comment here. First from QOP13. He says, "You need to put posters in the bathroom stalls. It's probably the best way to spread the word about Yang." You know what?
This is not a bad idea.
I will print some posters tonight and put them up tomorrow.
Yeah.
I could literally do that.
Yep.
I don't know if it's against anything, but I mean, it's effective. I'll give you that.
Why do you think most of all the candidates are really afraid to come at Yang? Even DT is afraid to say anything. DT is afraid to say anything because he's already said why he's already made it clear why he's not going to talk to someone like Yang unless he's in the general.
Yeah.
Because he's deadly afraid of an outsider like Yang.
Yeah. He said it before. He had a premonition.
He outright said it.
Yeah. It's like he had a premonition or something. He was just like, the only thing I fear is some outsider comes along.
Yep.
And then
that's not a joke. He thought it was a joke because he thought it'd never happen.
Yeah.
But he should know that that's not a joke because he shouldn't have ever thought about that because he wouldn't be there.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I guess the only outsider that can stop, Trump is another outsider.
Yeah. Yep.
Or one of the only.
Let's see what else we got. Dylan S. Do you think he will crush it in Iowa? I'm thinking Iowa will be tough. Think better shot in New Hampshire, maybe South Carolina too. JW, I personally think you might be on to probably the way that this really plays out. What do you think?
I think Youngapalooza could really shift the tide in Iowa.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The fact that Weezer is playing there, the surprise celebrity endorsements lined up. Evelyn will be making her debut there. Thousands could show up.
I think when Evelyn shows up by herself to some of these rallies, I think she's going to single-handedly take all of these people who are. She could single-handedly turn Warren, Kamala, and probably some Pete folks. She could probably turn those people by.
I didn't even think about that.
By herself.
The effect of Evelyn campaigning by herself for Yang.
The Evelyn effect.
Yeah, the Evelyn effects.
Yeah. I think she could turn. She definitely could probably. She could slurp. She could slurp Warren supporters. No problem.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Hey, look, it's great that Warren's got all these academic ideas, but what about all that Evelyn has to really go up there and say is, what about moms?"
Yep.
They're all talking about things that don't have anything to do with 30-40%. Let's say 30, 35. I don't know what portion of stay-at-home moms there are in the United States in terms of general population. But I can tell you this much: most of them vote.
Yeah.
Most of them vote, and if you were to tell them, "Hey, you're going to start getting $1,000 a month for your work," a lot of women are bored with that shit.
Yeah. And it's crazy that so many don't know yet, but many will know soon enough.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh, and when I talked about Youngapalooza and Evelyn showing up, also the campaign ads, like I said, it was like we both said, it was very effective having Medicare for all and showing off Evelyn and the entire family. And yeah, I think November is gonna be very, very good to Yang.
Yeah, I think that. I also think that, and I've been telling all of my friends, and quite a bit of my friends in IT kind of agree with this. Is that the unspoken but implicit support of Silicon Valley and all of this process minus Jeff Bezos. I don't think Bezos really supports us that much because he knows good and well we're going to tax him. But like the Dorseys, the Musks, all of these guys, I think that we are harboring some seriously heavy artillery that we haven't quite brought to bear on the problem yet.
Yeah, like
If
I want
you
to
don't
know
bring that kind of artillery, you don't roll the guns out until it's necessary,
exactly,
which I told everyone is about
exactly.
6 weeks before Iowa, but probably maybe even a little bit closer, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Hmm.
And then you hammer them with the heaviest of guns, and it's just like they won't the other campaigns won't even know what to do with some of that kind of support. When Jack Dorsey comes around and starts saying, hey, like I'm not going to accept political paid advertisements, but I have no problem supporting a super PAC that will that will motivate a lot of people.
Ooh,
Dims the brakes. Sorry.
yeah,
Like, I want to get Evelyn noticed by the fashion media. They're all featuring strong women on their magazines. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, the crazy part is
that would help.
Evelyn was already like involved in the fashion industry.
She
Like,
was.
yeah, it's like I think she's a natural. Like
You have
in
to,
all senses of the word, I think she's a natural for that.
yeah, you have to give her props for giving up so much to being to, you know, deciding to be a stay-at-home mom to help out Yang in his campaign.
I
And
think it can't be stated enough that like the patience and the graciousness that she's shown by offering Yang to the rest of us,
yeah,
offering Andrew to the rest of us, and let us have such a large chunk of his life.
yep. And
I
Yang
mean,
himself
like I think
says,
we probably owe, I think we all probably owe her a debt of gratitude. We're
yeah,
not going to really be able to pay.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
the closest debt of gratitude would maybe making her the first lady.
I mean, like if she had higher aspirations than that, like frankly is it's not aspiration, but it's a very nice position to occupy in society. But if she had higher aspirations, she probably could pull it off. She was amazingly well spoken in that commercial. Like I
Yep.
didn't know what to expect. I'd never heard her speak before, and I
I
was
didn't.
like,
I didn't even know she would be
oh crap,
speaking. I didn't
this
think we'd hear
person is
her.
bringing weapons grade
Yep.
capabilities to this situation. It's going to be quite good.
Yep. Yang has been teasing us over and over
Oh,
again.
he's been playing with us, man. Like
Yeah.
he's not been playing with us, but he's been playing with these other people in the campaign. He's like, "Oh yeah, my wife's no big deal. She's not involved in the campaign. Yeah, you don't need to worry about her because I'm gonna use her as a hammer later."
exactly. And related to uh, the 1.5 million goal, I'm happy to say we are almost about to hit the 1.2 million mark.
That's good. That's good. We're gonna have a little bit of a push, but I think we do well on last day pushes.
I
I
think
mean, we don't even have to blow it up, right? We just need to have a 300 grand day.
yeah, about. Who knows how much we raise overnight as well. Maybe we'll wake up to like 1.3 million or something, but
Yeah, and
which would be
I'm
insane.
like I keep on putting this out there, and I never get any takers. So please, please, anyone who's out there, like I'm probably at some point tomorrow gonna throw up a match during for a specific amount of time, or a specific dollar amount. And please, someone take me up on my offer because I will make some donations tomorrow. And like I'm happy to match some people to get them involved. That way you feel like you're vested.
Right, that's very noble of you to do.
It's not noble. It's so I have the resources. It's not noble. It's an obligation.
That's good.
Yeah,
I
I
like that.
I consider it like that's one of the things that like I'll go in a little bit about my background is I'm quite a fortunate individual. I've done fairly well in my life, and I've had some things work out in my life that most people will never see. And
Hmm.
I'm doing my best to use those opportunities to help the rest of you. Because, like, I can tell you this much: Yang doesn't win this election, and we get another 4 years of Trump. I'm going to be perfectly fine. I'm concerned about the rest of you. This is not for me. This is for you.
There we go. And that's really the main. point of all this. We all
It's
just,
humanity first, man.
yeah, we all want to help each other out.
Yeah. Yeah, like and I take that forward into my private life as much as I possibly can. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this so that I maybe inspire the rest of you to do so. Like whenever I see an opportunity where I can like potentially fundamentally make someone's day just a bit better, like it's a simple thing, man. Like going and getting coffee and you know what? I'm going through the drive-through and I pay for the person behind me in line, right? It's
Yep.
that kind of little stuff that really like it's the whole pay it forward stuff. I hate to use a cliche, but it really, really matters to society. It makes us all feel like we're one person. And this is it's great to be part of a campaign where it's like that's the actual one of the overarching themes, right? It's
Yeah.
like really good. So when it comes to supporting the campaign, man, I'm here to try to carry the weight for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm happy to try to do it.
That's incredible. And I also realized that Andrew Yang is a once in a lifetime candidate.
You guys that are
And
young, you younger folks, you don't know how once in a lifetime it really, really is. And
yeah,
you should, when you see people saying, I'm 53 years old, it's the first time I'm going to vote, that's a red flag. You need to take it super duper serious.
hmm so I'm gonna do everything in my power to help out Andrew Yang outside of New York. Either I was thinking of a road trip, or I was thinking of just going to one early state and really hammering in just as much canvassing as I can.
Have you done anything like maybe try to reach out to Fred or Russell over at Grassroots Yang Gang or any of those guys to maybe try to hook up and do some work?
Right. I have not yet. I'm waiting to think about it a bit more, but and also I'm waiting for some funds to come in from my college.
Yep. You're gonna
And
use that scholarship money. You'll get yourself $1,000 UBI scholarship.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
like you could certainly waste your money on less things. What do you feel about how do you feel about your prospects once you get out of college?
out of college, I was really not too sure what I would be doing um, just a couple of months ago. But I guess since I'm really feeling politics right now, I would love to be a political commentator someday, or at least try to work towards that.
Uh, I, I agree, and if that's the way you feel at this particular time, age and time, like this is the time that you need to make that kind of decision. Unfortunately, I wish that I could say that you had like another 5, 6 years to do so, but I
Yeah.
can tell you that once you start getting settled down with, there's two things that will kill those sorts of endeavors quicker than anything, and that's having a family and having kids. So I have a teenager who's just like 2 years younger than you.
Oh.
Um, yeah, it's if you want to do that kind of work, you need to do it while you're unencumbered and that you don't have as many responsibilities. That way you can take more risks.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's not to say that family and kids are bad things. They're not.
No, but
But
obviously they
but
take more resources.
I mean, yeah, you're like the, everyone's got to do the balancing act, and it's easier to do it when you don't have to balance a lot.
Right.
Like you can, when you're your age, you can live in your car.
Yeah.
When you're my age, you don't got that opportunity. That's not a thing.
Right.
What do you guys think at this point on Yang's biggest obstacle?
Yang's biggest obstacle
Yeah, what do you?
with how Yang is already the complete package. He can do everything on his own. He isn't like Elizabeth Warren, who has to be like, oh, I have to check that with the team. Like Yang
Yeah,
is the one man band. So honestly, I would say it's name recognition.
yeah. Um, um, my I think his biggest challenge is going to be the Bernie crowd.
The Bernie crowd.
Yeah, I think Bernie has got a big enough crowd that they think that they're gonna just run roughshod over things. And my thing with Bernie is like Do I think he could beat Trump? Yeah, I think he can beat Trump. But I think it's a question of careful what you wish for, because if he does beat Trump, he's not going to have a Congress that's going to back him up.
Yeah,
Even under the most optimistic of circumstances, he's probably not going to have a Congress that's willing to guarantee have a federal jobs guarantee or be able to push through complete single payer health care where there's no private insurance whatsoever.
I agree.
I think he gets in office, tries to pass that stuff, and runs into a dead roadblock. And the biggest problem for our political system going forward is running into that scenario where he becomes an ineffective and leader that can't get things done. That becomes like Democrats can't do anything.
Right.
And that's not good for the Democratic Party. It's also not good for America.
I would agree.
Yeah. Can you talk to other YouTubers to get their followers to put posters in the bathroom stalls? I kind of want to spam every place. I kind of want to spam bathrooms.
Bathroom banking. Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm gonna put up a poster in a bathroom stall on my campus tomorrow, and I'll take a picture of it, and I'll post it on Twitter, and I'll make sure to add all the Yang Gang influencers, and I'll be like, "Hey, Yang Gang,
Fred, Russell, myself,
think about it. Bathroom banking,
toilet banking, TBs,
Yang toilet paper.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Do you have any way to print yourself giant posters, or is that pretty easy for you to do?
Well, we don't need giant posters, just like the regular paper size.
Yeah.
And just stick them on the bathroom stall.
That'll work.
And then obviously put it on on the same level of when people are sitting, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't want to put it too high. Bathroom banking.
It's a popular thing.
Yeah.
You just keep on saying it over and over again.
Yeah. We're gonna just speak it into reality. Speak it into existence. But yeah. QOB13, if you're following me on Twitter, we'll see if I follow up on the bathroom banking stuff.
Maybe if you do it, you actually, as long as you keep it pretty PG, like video yourself. As promised, here comes the poster.
No, yeah.
By the way, I need to check in if you can buy ad space at the theater before the show starts. Not sure if you can let you run political ads. I don't see why not. It's private enterprise, right?
Yeah.
And as long as you're not doing so as quote unquote official behalf of the campaign, I think you probably do whatever you want to. That's the super PAC rule, right? Like they strictly can't talk to the campaign, and we don't work for the campaign, and I'm probably telling you it's okay. So that's probably gonna fly. Yeah, you probably do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't know. I don't see any reason why you couldn't do that.
So
another question: do you think the current administration, once Yang gets into office, if he becomes president, or when he becomes president, how much opposition do you think he's going to get against his agenda, brick wall, so to speak?
There won't be much opposition, I think.
I don't know about that. I think that he's going to run into the same challenges. Well, it all depends on if Mitch McConnell and his cronies get to stay in the Senate. Frankly, the Senate is the biggest problem. And Mitch McConnell, people are actually getting really sick of his crap. But if Mitch McConnell gets to continue leading the Senate, is he going to be a never Yanger? He probably is going to be a never Yanger. And he will probably do his best to try and derail everything that Yang does. But the thing is that I think that there's just enough support for UBI that we can press it through. And the thing is if we press UBI through, McConnell is
powerless.
He's not going to hold on to his job because it'll be so popular with the public. People will just be like, "You've been wrong all along. Get out of our way."
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. We've had a lot of agreement, not a whole lot of disagreement, but some, a little bit.
And that's perfectly fine, and that's the wide landscape of the Yang Gang.
Yeah. As long as if there's any one thing I could say to people when it comes to discussions is don't try not to take an adversarial tone with people you disagree with. Go out and talk to people who voted for Trump, like yourself. Go out and talk to people on the far left. Talk to people like intersectional feminists. Like go talk
Right.
to social justice warriors. Go talk to people who believe in identity politics. Please, go talk to people who want to be in referred to as communities like the black community in America. Like talk to people that you don't necessarily agree with. You may not even agree with their entire positions in life, and just approach everything with an open mind and open heart, and see how it turns out for you. Because I guarantee you, it'll turn out better than they thought it would. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will not be. They're very disarmed. They're very disarmed when you approach things this way.
Right. That's good advice. And yeah, I try to keep an open mind, not just in politics, but in all walks of life.
I mean, it's
Just
a good policy in general, but it's especially important when we're so divided politically.
yeah,
Like I can tell
especially
you
right
that
now.
like there's still a massive portion of the population that that voted for Trump that still thinks everyone on the left, like myself, hates them. And you know what?
Mm.
It's up to me to change that opinion.
Yeah,
So because we spent the first 7 months of Trump's presidency freaking out,
that's
like
true.
talking about everything was gonna burn down, and like in how oh well everyone's racist, everyone's sexist, everyone's this and that, and I'm just like we clearly did not help do ourselves any favors talking like that. That did nothing.
Yeah,
It did no progress whatsoever.
yeah, and hopefully Yang can steer the country back in the right direction in terms of actually getting things done and less arguing with each other. Like the whole left, right, forward, or not left, not right, forward is so genius.
I think it's one of the smartest political plays
Yeah.
it's been done in quite a long time. Um, it's it's very similar in Bill Clinton's approach in the 90s when he ran for president. The difference is the policies Ying's supporting. Clinton
Mm-hmm.
Clinton ran on a uniter, not a divider kind of like social position, but his platform was frankly toxic. His platform was is I'll give everything that conservatives, like traditional legacy conservatives, everything they ever wanted. I won't mess with the economy. I'm going to give everything away to Wall Street. I'm going to give everything away to people who want to be quote unquote tough on crime. And like
Right.
these are all things that we're now completely like victims of and like completely suffering the ill effects of. And like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any better. I was your age back at that time, and like I didn't understand politics at all. And I was like, well, this sounds like he's saying all good things, and now I
Yeah.
understand these really weren't good things.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So, uh, I agree.
yeah,
And Dylan says Trump shock was the dark ages for real. Yeah, those are definitely the dark ages.
it was a shock on everybody on the left. Like considering myself, like I didn't understand like why people had voted for him. I don't understand like someone like yourself would have supported for him. It
Yeah.
it made no sense to me. I didn't understand, and like I have zero shame in saying I didn't understand.
Right.
There are a fair amount of people still left on the left that still think that they don't owe anyone an apologies for that, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but you do. You friggin' do.
Exactly.
Because I know how you all acted. I had my eye on you. Like I know what you did. Like I saw what you said about all of your friends. So
Mm.
it's like in friends and family members, and I'm like, dude, like I get it. There's a lot of people that said horrific things about like people. Like frankly, I got a pretty big heart, man. Like I
Right.
understand why immigrants come here illegally. Like I think you do too, right? Like
Yeah, I understand.
it's not they're not out to break the law. They're not out to like they aren't actually all members of like cartels and like rapists. That's not true.
Not true.
No, the like I don't know how many people have you known that have actually been illegal immigrants from Mexico. Like I've known a fair amount in my life. So
Not from Mexico, but from other places.
Maybe in New
I've
York
known
City, it's a little bit more. It's actually more Europe, like I think.
really. Well,
Yeah, like
I haven't really run into Europe, but definitely some South Americans, illegal immigrants for sure.
yeah. Um, uh, the consistent narrative I always got from everyone that I've met that's been illegal is they were either they like I literally met one guy from Kosovo, and this is back in the 90s. I met this guy, and he was working in an Italian restaurant here in Dallas, and was like, "I'm not legal. I came through New York. I was fleeing the Serbs who were literally murdering everyone in my town."
Jeez.
And he's like, I'm hiding under the radar, hoping I never have to go back. He's like, I'm going to keep my head down, continue waiting these tables, and hope that I never get, hope that no one ever deports me.
Yeah.
Uh, that was kind of crazy situation. Like you could walk into this restaurant, and behind the counter, there's a calendar there. And this is back in
Hmm.
'99, and there's a calendar with a dude with a sack over his head, two eye holes, and an AK-47. Like
Jeez.
that restaurant was definitely sending money to
Oh
Kosovo.
my
I was
goodness.
like, wow, these guys are supporting the KLA. It literally said the KLA on the side of the calendar. It's like
Wow.
pretty pretty edgy.
Pretty. Yeah.
Um,
Very edgy.
very very out there. But
Yeah. Um.
that's but when it comes to people from Mexico, they're trying to escape all kinds of bad things. The point is maybe the best way to handle this isn't necessarily build walls. Maybe it's probably better foreign policy with Mexico, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Legalizing marijuana, and frankly, like I hate to say this, and Yang hasn't really brought it up yet, but probably legalizing cocaine is probably going to be probably the nail in the cartel's coffin.
Yeah, that'll be.
We've got a
We
long
do
way
have
to
a long way
go
to go,
with
and
society to
also
accept that answer.
decriminalizing more drugs as well.
Probably decriminalizing all drugs is going to take the sales out of the cartel, and it'll
Yeah.
de-incentivize the violence, which is it's nothing. There's a lot of people that have big problems with this, but I'm sorry, this is just probably where we're going to be at. I'm sorry.
Yep. Funny enough, I brought up decriminalizing all drugs in my. I think my psychology professor took it the wrong way. I think she thought I meant legalizing all of them, and she was like, "Yeah, I would love to like just smoke every drug ever every day." And I
Was
was
she
like,
saying it sarcastically or for real?
I think she was for real. But she's at the same time she's pretty wild. So
I mean, like I don't really care what people do with themselves, like as long as they're not negatively impacting the rest of society. So,
exactly, I agree with that.
yeah,
So we're gonna take this comment from QOP13. I think this is the last
yeah,
one we'll take because we
yeah.
do have to
I've
wrap it
got
up soon.
yeah. I gotta wrap it up soon here.
Yeah. But wow, so far I think this one and the next one combined we almost did 3 hours.
We did a Rogan.
Yeah, we did a whole Joe Rogan, but Andrew Yang edition
Yeah,
or Andrew
Yang
Yang Gang edition.
Yang edition.
Yes. So we have from QOB13. They say, I remember the day after the election, Obama had to yell at the people for getting upset. He told them many people did not vote because Hillary failed to inspire people, but for those who supported Hillary and did not vote and are angry, this is why voting is important.
Yeah, is absolutely 100% correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like instead of spending all that energy on anger, they could have spent it on pushing more people to vote for
Yeah,
Hillary.
and probably even well, at this point they probably could spend more energy into 2018. Frankly, we probably could have done Democrats could have done a little bit better.
Yeah,
Like frankly, there's a lot of things that aren't going to change until we remove Mitch McConnell from office because
that's
he's
true.
literally a bigger problem than Trump. Trump's not as big of a problem like in the whole fundamental large scale situation of America. Mitch McConnell is the long term problem. He's been there way longer than Trump. He may potentially be there longer than anyone we elect into office. Like,
Hmm.
and he's literally stopping. He's the reason that real progress doesn't get made.
Yeah, the amount of like stuff he's blocked is crazy.
It's disgusting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well, man, Yeah, I thank you for having me on. I know that I hit you up about this, and I just
You're
thought it'd
welcome.
be a good time, dude.
A good, yeah, a good opportunity to just shine some spotlight.
Yes, yes, Sonic. I think he's gonna make that goal by tomorrow.
Yes, and
I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not
he's
saying
100%
you
going
should.
to.
You should donate to help
Yeah,
him do that.
I'm probably gonna throw like a 20 tomorrow. I know there's probably gonna be a lot of people that waited until the last day of the goal to donate money. So I think there's gonna be a big push at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
yeah, I really appreciate you for doing this. And
Thanks for having me
yeah,
on. I appreciate it. I love to talk about
welcome.
stuff like this, and it's like I don't certainly don't get a big public forum to do so. This is pretty fun. So
Yeah, I'm
uh,
glad
we're,
you stepped up to the plate and you were down to.
yeah, maybe we do this a little bit later. I don't know. Like I don't know that I could go this long. This is a pretty long one to
Yeah,
start
this,
off with,
this was a
but I
long
mean,
one.
like we could probably do something in a little bit more compressed format in which we were maybe a little bit more uh what's the word, focused on
Right.
everything, so we could like I don't want to be the Edward Snowden of YouTube.
Yeah, I get that.
As much as I like what Snowden does, the issues he talks about are important. It's his answers are really long.
That's true. I think, yeah, I think this was a great interview or sit down discussion. Well, I think we learned a lot. I definitely gained more perspectives and viewpoints on Yang, and yeah,
Yeah,
it was this whole thing was just really awesome.
awesome. All right, man.
All right.
Well, you have any parting shots before we take off?
I think we're gonna hit that 1.5 million goal. I remember when I made a video. You might have seen a video. Like we have 4 days to raise $900,000.
I think I did. Yeah,
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 you know, I'm just like glad that we really stepped it up, and it looks like we're gonna crush that 1.5 million. Depending on what number we wake up with tomorrow morning.
yeah, yeah. Um, I think that all of you should donate.
Yeah,
Put it.
everyone watching,
Everyone
please
needs to
donate.
step up, please, please. Even if you give $5, man. Like
Yeah,
I know you got coffee money. Like I know
yeah.
you got that Starbucks money. Cough it up, man.
TD might match you, right?
I might match you. It depends on what time of day it is and what I'm doing. It's
Yeah,
very potential possibility that I might match
possibility. Yeah.
you.
All right, but besides that, oh, QOP13 says restroom banking. Yes. Watch out
Yeah.
tomorrow for my tweet.
Uh oh.
Yeah,
That's
it's
got
might just
got
happen.
some surprises. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
All right, and I'm excited. I hope you have a good night. TD746. Thank you so much for appearing on. And
Lewis, thank you for having me on, man. This was a good time. It went better than I could have thought about. So
yeah, it was great.
yeah,
Had
man.
a good time, and hopefully everyone watching had a good time.
Yeah,
And
thanks for like we had a lot of people. Like I think we had like almost 30 people watching at one point. That was
yeah, at
pretty
one point
cool.
that
That
was
was pretty cool,
super
man.
cool, super cool.
Yeah,
And
that's
yeah,
awesome.
and
All right, man.
I didn't really like announce it too ahead of time. I just posted about it on my Twitter.
I
So
made like 2 or 3 posts on Twitter today. And I was
oh yeah, I
excited.
actually saw them.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
One parting shot. If you are on Twitter and you're engaging in these conversations, don't just talk to people in Yang Gang. Look for people who don't have blue hats. Follow them. Try to get them to follow you back. Direct messages at them. Provoke questions. Provoke dialogue with everyone who isn't on the gang. Like we can talk amongst each other, and that's great. It's great that we've got the fellowship going on. But man, like reach out to people that aren't like us. Reach out to people that are like pick your. I like to say this: pick your toughest target. Pick the person you think you're never gonna yang gang, and talk to them. See how it goes for you.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to TD746. He's right. Definitely gotta do that. But without further ado, I think this is the end
Yep.
of this very long but productive Yang discussion.
This Rogan-esque production.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell all of y'all still watching. I actually told TD that I thought this would be 10 minutes.
He did say it's gonna be 10 minutes. I was like, I don't think you could describe anything about Yang in 10 minutes, but like
Yeah,
maybe this guy's got super focused questions that are yes and no. Maybe I thought you maybe had like some more stuff to do. So I was
but
like,
yeah,
no. I told him straight up. I was like, Q&A can go
yeah,
forever.
and I was very much surprised.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think that'll be it from us.
yeah, man.
Thank you all
Well,
so
but
much for
maybe,
watching.
yeah, man. We'll do that. We probably have to do this again. So
Yeah,
take care.
maybe like in a couple of weeks, definitely in sometime November.
When I get back from overseas, probably.
Oh, when will you be back?
December, like December 2nd, December
All right,
3rd.
that's perfect.
Yeah, man.
Perfect.
It'll give you some time to digest things and see
Yeah,
where you're at.
yeah, and yeah. Hopefully, for everyone watching, still, this is a start. Because I really want to give back to the community.
Get more get other people from either Discord or from the followers. I mean,
For sure.
get some people online and do this with someone else.
I would definitely love to do this like over and over again because I love getting all these perspectives. But
Yeah, man.
yeah,
That's good.
that would be it from us, though. I've been Detective Lewis, and
Is TD746 talk way too much crap on Discord.
yeah. Oh, shout out to the Discord. What a wild roller coaster that
Yeah,
can be
yeah,
sometimes. But yep.
for sure. All right, man. You guys take it easy. I'm
Yeah.
out.
All right. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you later. Peace.